I'm only allowed to Kramer Doc on his streams and like 5 hours into them.
Correct. And on record as the button is pressed.
Welcome back to Exalted 3rd Edition, Dragonblood's Crimes of Nature. Last time, there was a lot of discussion of plot, musing of many plot revelations, discussions among the crew, strategizing as to where to go next and what to do next with all of the information that was unlaid. Further investigations into the Fallen River Valley found that the politician that had never actually had his name said out loud, turns out that was not just kind of an oversight by some sort of divine narrative voice. No one actually knew his name, and he skipped town, and all of people's memories of him turned out to be surprisingly and uncomfortably vague. And upon trying to follow up on that, Thousand Miracles Yang went to the warehouse where his business associations had been, and found that it had been trapped by razor wire and a dart. And inside of the dart box that had been fired was a piece of Malfian brass, metal from hell itself, which was not information that anyone appreciated. In addition, some deductive reasoning and logic puzzled out that the demons sealed within the swamp of Don't may be there for an actual good reason of blocking off access to a gateway to heaven. Why this is the case, who did this, and whether or not this is a good idea or a lead up to a bad thing is unknown, but it seems fairly clear that the villainous elements, such as the Ruby Gauntlet Tyrant, are interested in getting it out of the way to get access to that gate. So for the time being, it's begrudgingly maybe okay to leave there. Maybe it's better that it's there. It's not clear, and it's not something anybody, especially Obsidian Shield, is happy with.
No.
But with that, the Hearth has resumed its kind of discussions and overnight at the Manse, the headquarters, and is back to figuring. Oh, right, there was also the time that Milan summoned up a demon from the hell outside reality to make a map for him, and honestly, it went fine. It was pretty smooth. It wasn't
That's
really worth
fine.
talking about. It's all good. But now they have a ley line, and the teleportation network arcway, question mark, is partially repaired. So, the next morning, it is clear that the automatic repair system on the arcway is going at a pretty good pace, and the Hearth is left again to their own devices.
So we understand that the demon went back and they're not going to report anything about what they did because their whole job is just to dig and figure stuff out, correct?
That is the idea of the way it was summoned, was just, you have a job, do it, and leave.
Okay.
If some opposing force wished to acquire such information, they would be taking up for themselves the task of attempting to find a single flea on the back of a behemoth.
Yeah, you would be looking for a needle in every haystack in the world.
Oh, there can't be that many demons out there. Like, how many Jeffs are there out in the world?
Yes.
How many grains of sand are there upon a beach? Anyway. It is let me double check the calendar in-game. It is the morning of the 24th of Resplendent Water. And everything seems to be not on fire right now, at least in your present vicinity.
I think Angler spent the entire night just sitting in the water, meditating.
Reasonable.
Yank's melting demon bronze into mahjong tiles.
Okay, so which ones are you making out of the Malfian brass?
The green dragons. Well, no, probably actually the bamboo tiles. If I give them dragon power, that might be too symbolic. I don't know how demon shit works.
I mean, making the green tiles out of Malfian brass is pretty effective. So, yeah.
Yeah, basically, like, as much green ink as I need, I will squeeze out as much as I can get out of this.
Yeah. So, give me a, let's call that a dexterity craft roll to see how much progress you make over the night.
God, what is my craft?
I believe it's 2 with a specialty in potions. Or chemistry.
Yeah, just chemistry in specific. I guess, how much would it cost to add just 1 to that? I think I have enough for that.
That would be... Craft is not favored or aspect for you, so that would be 6
4,
experience.
6, right? Because it's
Okay.
2 times the next level up, or is it 2 times the level
No,
up?
it's current rating, so yeah, that would be 4.
So for 2, actually, I can afford that. All right. Let's
Yeah.
just say Yang has chemistry 4 now.
Okay.
So 4 plus, what'd you say, dexterity?
Yes. Okay, let's take a look. 6 successes. Roll me wits occult while you do this.
Oh, good. I also just buffed my wits earlier, so
Mm-hmm.
that's an 8.
You have the strangest feeling as you are working this brass into these tiles and very ornately putting in the detail work and kind of just working them into being, like they're not supposed to be, oh, it's the brass ones, so I can look at the stack and know that those are all the bamboo tiles. You're putting on lacquer, you're putting on the work, you're putting on the ink to make them look good, but you're still making it out of the brass. It's a very highly detail-oriented, very difficult work, and yet you feel as though there's an unseen hand helping you do this. Not in a necessarily malevolent or well, it's kind of a spooky way. It's you feel like something is pleased by this.
I will let it help enthuse me, but I will not let it. I'll be mindful to stop it from affecting my decision-making process.
Yeah, that is basically you are wise enough to realize these instincts are like, okay, you don't call the shots, but I'll accept your advice.
You may drive along for this experience, yes, demons.
Yeah, the demons,
Even though you fucked me in
Mahjong are
Yeah.
incredibly entertained.
You fucked me earlier, but like, I'll let you pay this one back.
Yeah, they are incredibly entertained by this choice you are making and are giving you an assist.
It's no longer the demons who govern Mahjong, but the demons who govern creativity.
They're cousins. They know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, they have the same office complex.
Yeah, co-workers. That's a better way to put it.
Yeah.
Go tell that fucker I'm watching him.
So yeah, you're able to get a pretty decent headway through the tile set by the morning. You don't get it all complete, but a day, another day of work, and you'll probably have the full tile set.
Whenever we have expanded downtime and Yang's not actively doing something, I'll just hand wave that as like I finished the thing.
Finishing it up.
Yeah. I don't know what progress I am with the Mahjong set. We've got stuff
So
in
you
blue and
have
green.
You have Jimbus. You made, I think, the blue dragon tiles with Jimbus, and you now have the bamboo tiles.
Can I retcon it so I'm doing the same? Like I use the Jimbus juice in the same way where I have inlaid like tiles that I use to fill the characters.
Yes. Yeah.
Like,
Absolutely.
Yeah, that just feels like a good way to do that.
Yeah. So you now have 2 dragons and 2 suits left.
Hey, actually making progress.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I guess I'm just probably keep people wake up to me with the jeweler's loop staring at tiles.
Yeah, and seeing occasional strange glimmers of the brass being worked before it is covered up with, ceramic and lacquer.
Propose we'll give the material a stern looking at of you keep in line. You don't try anything.
Don't you even. I already beat you with the shogi set.
Angler comes walking out of the lake and just looks at it and goes, "So, are we playing with that later? You all promised to teach me at some point, but I don't think that looks quite finished."
Oh, yeah, I mean, what kind of fucking mahjong set do you not play with? Like, give me more, I need some red ink. And then just some other shit.
You could probably use some of that leftover rust that we had from the
Didn't I use all that?
lance.
You do still have some of the rust, you just didn't have enough for weaponized applications.
Yang is gonna
And
look
the nail
indignant,
is still
like,
there.
and start
It
pretending
has
like
shed
you know.
a lot of rust.
And also, yeah, like, you could just go back because there's multiple hundreds of thousands of tons of rust.
It's quite big.
And yet Repose still has the entire backpack. Repose only used a bit of it for body paint.
Oh yeah, actually, I guess I'll just ask to borrow enough of it. I'll do that later though. I'll have enough of it in stockpile to finish a set.
Mhm.
So, actually, if we have green, red, and blue, what's the last color I need?
Black.
Just a black.
And wait, what uses blue?
Oh no, not blue dragon. It's red, white, and green dragon. So
Yes.
Jimbus probably would have been white dragons.
Well, the white is
Terra.
blank.
Right.
Yeah, but it doesn't mean I can just get lazy on it.
You gotta have inlays and shit.
Mhm.
There will be an icon there. It's just, I'll know. No one else will, but I'll know.
Propose gave some of his share of the rust over to the monastery.
Yeah. But yeah, as things stand right now, current plot points are Bear, Teeth, pursuing further information in Grey Falls, pursuing information about the portal, pursuing information about Onyx in the manse itself, other such things.
So, is the portal itself repaired?
The physical structure of the portal is now repaired. The actual hookup of it to the rest of the leyline network is not activated yet, and whether or not there's anything on the other side is an open question. You do have the map, though, so you could start cross-referencing.
Okay, well, hey Onyx, what can you tell us about what we have to do to hook this gateway or connect this gateway to the other side of wherever it can go?
Please wait. There's a actual kind of palpable sensation of the entire building thrumming as it starts to think. And let's see. Alignment with current ley line network is optimal. Automatic repair process should take approximately 1 week. Assistance could be associated with accelerated with sorceress workings.
Would the sorcerer's workings allow the people who might be accessing it an easier way of moving through the ley lines, since they will be familiar with it?
Hypothesis promising. Unknown, but likely.
Angler immediately goes over and grabs Vinif.
Huh?
Hey, I got a project for you.
Vinif is literally dragged out of bed.
Sure. What do you need? Have the demons taken over? No. Okay, good. That hasn't bit me in the butt yet.
Here, fix it.
Okay.
Just... Oop.
Blink.
Just drags up to the archway.
Yes, I have a thought. Do I just throw him through the archway? No, that's a real bad idea. We'll just to the archway. Here, fix it and throw them in. And when you come back, we'll know it's fixed.
And that's how I rolled up my lunar character.
So,
Sorry.
give me, let's call it a perception occult to evaluate what you're dealing with here.
Sure thing. Three
Okay.
successes.
3 successes. You did not get the update from Onyx yourself, but it does seem like the major thing here is that it is effectively a train station that does not have a train track built onto it. It is disconnected from the infrastructure that it wants to use. So the simple way, simple in air quotes, would be just grab a ley line and hook it up. The actual method of doing so would probably take a little bit of doing.
How many hundreds of geomancers do you have on staff to do the grunt work of rearranging terrain without exploding it a bit?
Mhm.
I have one. She's really good at it.
She is quite good at it. The alternative way would be to grow out the archway until it hooks into a ley line itself, which is probably more doable from the labor ability that you have. It would be a little less elegant, but it would work.
I like that. That's interesting.
Do these ley lines have any inherent, like, always one element attached to them, like tree? Wood?
They usually have a predominant alignment of essence, but can be multi-threaded, as far as I am aware.
Okay. If a sorcerer is trying to attach to a certain ley line spread and we know what that element is, would it be helpful to have someone of that element to aid the sorcerer in the connection?
That would be something that I would call a complementary bonus, like a cooperation or an exotic component in the sorcerer's working aspect, so yes.
All right, I'm going to have a look at the map that was made up. What's the nearby ley lines looking like? Do I have any information on what they are?
Incredibly dense spider web of mostly wood essence, as makes sense for being out in the east. It is a riot of life and just kind of things growing in all over each other in terms of this is where life goes rampant and where wood essence is ruling. So most of the ley lines out here are... It's not so much unruly as it is orderly in the way that only an organic, slowly building upon itself life pattern can be, which means that it is a huge mess until you understand the logic.
Hey, Yang,
What's up?
you got a second? Need help with the project?
Okay. What's up? What are we doing?
I need you to funnel a ton of wood energy into this archway.
Fine. Maybe waffles.
Get all woody on it.
How?
I think really hard about shoving Fanif into the archway after that.
I touch it and I start thinking about grass. Real
Uh,
hard.
Basically, yeah, if you would be able to channel your peripheral motes and stuff into the archway to help align it towards wood essence as another way of assisting with the sorcerer's working.
Eventually, I'll figure out I should probably just pretend I'm attuning to this.
Basically, actually, when you take that mental logic of what if this is just something to attune to, it just immediately is like snap, and you feel your internal essence come into complete alignment with the gate, and feels like it's trying to reach outward for something, but the hand that it's reaching with is just grasping air, where it's expecting to find something. Like, hang on, shouldn't there be like something to hook onto out here? Hang on. You have discovered how to activate it, it's just not completely repaired yet.
Huh.
Okay, so what we're going to need is a sorceress borehole to the ley line. And if I'm going to connect it, it's going to need to be in tune with the ley line. So I'm going to need to regrow this magical connection.
Mhm.
So if I can funnel the sorceress motes in a way that's like a growing plant, we can just let the sorcery grow its way back into the ley line.
That would make sense.
Hey, Vanith.
Mm-hmm.
Since this is our hearth trying to make this connection, would it make sense that all of us help with this and not just a couple? Or would that overload the connection?
Actually, I think... Let me make... Do you want me to make a check to what I would think would happen if we all did it?
Sure, go ahead and roll intelligence occult 1 dice stone.
Does Captain Planeting it work is really what I'm asking, and that's more of an idle curiosity than actually
That
like
would
a
actually
good
be
idea.
a significant help, and for the 6th success, if Old Man could be beholden to helping you work the sorcery part, it would probably go a lot faster, because of 2 sorcerers working in concert is a lot faster than 1.
Captain Planning.
Yeah.
As the first ever heart exalt.
Yes.
Wait, so Maki was just wood this whole time? Shit.
Always has been.
Yep.
Hey, Sifu, old man.
Yes?
I'm gonna need your help with something.
And what is that something?
We are trying to reactivate the archway teleporter out in that storage room, and
Uh-huh.
I need a talented sorcerer to help me funnel the sorcerer's motes.
Well, why are you talking to him then?
Because he's my mentor in sorcery.
It was a
Just went right over Milan's head.
Yeah, you're right. Thanks, Milan. I temporarily lost.
I would like
My
you to
memory-
do things to help me. No.
I had a very specific amnesia. Just, I'm gonna go in the corner, okay?
Angler just kind of gives him a pat on the back. You tried your best, bud. It's okay.
Genghis going to
I
find a
thought that
corner
was-
of
As
the
Yang
throne
goes
room.
to
For
the
what it's
closest,
worth, I thought it was funny.
as Yang goes to the closest thing that Yang can find to a corner in this semicircular room, there is a drip of water on Yang's shoulder that can only be described as a pat on the back.
Thanks, I appreciate it.
Ah. Well. Why not? I don't do anything when we're here anyway. Which is normally my preference, but for some reason being here is uncomfortable. So doing nothing feels worse than doing something.
Is there anything I can do to make your stay more pleasant, old man?
No. It's because I don't like you.
Unfortunate. Is there anything I can do to make you like me?
No. That's a fault of mine.
It's not you, it's him.
It's half you, half me.
I believe I understand.
Really?
No.
Okay, cool. Because that you'd be ahead of me, and I'd feel left out.
All right, this will be interesting. Who knows? Maybe something will go horribly wrong and we all die.
All right.
I
Meanwhile,
got like an hour of sleep.
the fact that Obsidian and Repose have been out of these prior events, we
Yeah.
can nicely encapsulate that into a quiet conversation that has been beginning in the middle of the room.
Yep.
Now, Obsidian, my brother.
Yes.
All right, so there's going to be a lot of preamble we can skip over in character talk of the usual Repose getting warmed up to saying anything to anyone.
Fumbling, hemming, hawing.
It is nice to be back at your home. It is a very good home, and I look forward to performing the necessary and sacred work of restoring it to some semblance of its former glory. And in service of that, I feel it is important that we should have a more complete understanding of what precisely your home is.
That has been confusing to me for quite a bit now.
It sounds like you guys live in super hell.
What?
You know, like just democracy everywhere. Or bureaucracy. Democracy's good. Well,
Now,
wait,
from
talking about where you came from or what?
this home that we're standing in. The
Oh,
building.
okay. I thought you were talking about where they came
Vaguely gesture at like the actual walls around us.
from. Oh, I thought we were talking
ceiling.
about their homeland, not the house. Okay.
No, the man. This is Yang only paying half attention. Homeland? All right, yeah, no, the Blessed Isles?
Also,
No.
as far as anyone in character knows, Obsidian's homeland is out here. He's local. He's an outcast.
Where
He's
are
not
you?
a gentleman. What? No, never.
That has yet to be revealed. I mean, I'm from here.
What foreshadowing?
What? Anyway.
Now, as you've surely seen by now, I am not one prone to speculate. I prefer to only give an answer if I have fair certainty that it is correct, and if possible, I prefer to provide the simple answer when it is available. And this is the preamble to propose, like reaching back and taking scroll out of his portable desk and preparing to discuss some things. And he unrolls it, and on it is like a Vitruvian Man diagram of a person, but not a person. Like it's all human proportioned anatomy, but it's all, smooth and tubes and wheels and so forth. It's made of weird bits. And as proposed, well now, having said, I will try to give you the simple answer as I can. Anyway, to discuss your house, first let me show you this puppet. This is a sort of novelty which was popular among the grand artisans and magi of the old age.
Uh-huh.
They were made in a variety of sizes and arrangements and compositions, but the gold standard of such works was to create something in the likeness of a human to such exacting detail that, despite not possessing life, containing no mind or no soul in the ways that they conventionally exist in you or I or any of the other peoples of the world, they are capable of action and behavior, and by all reasonable measure, what seems to be thought, emotion, peculiar things.
Fascinating.
Right.
Few of them survive in the present age, as the presence of many fine, delicate pieces meant they often relied on the presence of their makers for survival. But I suspect, from what I have seen of Onyx's presence and behavior, that their awareness, the voice that they've spoken to us with, is constructed on similar principles. To this old art. And he will put away robot diagram, having seen it serve its purpose of confusing and
Obsidian
tensing
Shield
up
further.
Obsidian. Huh? Huh?
What? This is both actually in and out of character. I do not understand. I don't know if that was supposed to be weird and confusing, but I don't understand where you're going with this doll.
It's a robot, but neither of us have the context to talk about robots or computers.
Yes.
In the first stage, they made up robots. They were able to make robots and AI.
Okay.
Sort of.
Yeah. Close enough, asterisk.
Are we like technically living in a post apocalypse?
Yes.
Very.
Huh. All right.
At least 3 deep. Probably more like 4.
Yeah, actually, like multiple post apocalyptics.
The Aquaman will get a car one of these days, and it'll be very confusing.
You'll get a robot motorcycle.
Probably a
And
motorcycle.
I'm sure if anyone
You're-
can.
You're a Toku character. You're getting a motorcycle.
Yeah, like a tokusatsu needs some sort of vehicle, but that's not this session or this campaign at all. There's no way.
And I'm sure that there are many people out there we are interacting with who would love to see that number go up to 5 apocalypses. Looking at you, Ruby Gauntlet.
Here in the 4th Umbral era.
And now Repose is himself a little stalled over seeing, like, a lot of what he was probably hoping to discuss and convey has gone farther over Obsidian's head.
Sailing into the far beyond.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I get what you're saying, but like, and the part that is all awkward for Obsidian is like, I'm effective at leading men, but this, to an extent, feels like having a child.
How is that different from having an army following you around?
Very.
Really? They both need constant attention, don't they?
No. That's the thing. You can order an army to do things, and they're cognizant enough to take care of it on their own, whereas the child is like...
And at that, Repose actually lights up a bit, and I did make the right point. All right, good. Look at my very smart and handsome brother who is on the right wavelength for the concerns to raise about the robot. Yes.
Finally!
Like, I don't need the analogy of like the whole robot thing. Like Obsidian, again, just Obsidian being Obsidian, literally just sees it as another person.
Yeah, no, you were over and underestimating him at the same time.
Yes, so you have noticed that at times when others address Onyx, it will abruptly become more verbose and formal in response to some requests, but far less so to others.
Yeah.
These are subjects which fall nearer things which it is well experienced with, things which perhaps knowledge of them was more exhaustively written into its structure as it was being made.
Oh, it's sort of a instinct sort of thing.
In some ways, yes. As a being without a heart or brain or either of the souls, the manner in which Onyx forms thoughts is entirely unlike how you or I would experience such things.
Okay.
And before continuing, Propose will kind of snap away from the conversation briefly and look, up at the ceiling into the vague middle distance. Onyx, do you have any innate preferred mode of address?
Searching. Unclear. Ambivalent? Define mode of address.
Well, as a structure, following conventions of the old grammar, it would be technically correct to make reference to you as, and like you will spin off some old tongue pronouns for inanimate being.
Mm-hmm.
If I call you an it, does that feel appropriate?
I do not oppose this. So long as I understand I am being addressed, perhaps that is what matters? Unclear.
Then it will suffice. Should the nature of your response to the question change in any future time, inform me and I shall update my conduct accordingly.
Understood. There's this kind of feeling of curious circling around Obsidian and Repose mentally of examination of not like an attempt to understand more. The idea of, as Repose mentioned, your thought processes are very different than Onyx's. And it is clear that, that is what is becoming clear as the presence hovering over you, as you had delivered then laid out that dichotomy. It's clear that Onyx hadn't been fully aware of that and was re-examining you, like, hang on, you do work differently than I do. It's just sort of a curiosity feeling around you. What are these souls that you mention?
How do you describe a soul? Looks at the more spiritual person of the group.
The sum of your entire personality, accomplishments, and reputation. Just you.
Let's get out the other scrolls. Although before Repose can settle down and preach at a house for a while.
Mm-hmm.
But before getting off of that, if I would assert any general advice on the subject of how best to handle our conduct around Onyx, would be that as a structure which was built to aid and accommodate and shelter others, that one should be mindful of making requests and posing questions. As when we've been here thus far, this is that has been the point of conversation which Onyx has most pointedly reacted to quite immediately.
I mean, I think you have a soul. You're my friend.
I believe this is a compliment, and I appreciate it. I believe you are also my friend, Yang? I am unsure if mutual assent is required for friendship.
The thing you gotta know is that people make up terms a lot. So with the express intent to exclude certain people or objects or things or concepts, like rocks have souls, honestly. Plants have souls. I talk to them. Animals.
No, they don't.
Spiritually speaking.
Also spiritually speaking. No, they don't.
The definition of a soul is just like whatever the fuck you feel like. And it's also, a convenient term to exclude people and make them not, less than you so you can do things to them. Just,
All right, now that Yang is entering the marketplace of ideas here, Repose can move on to the preaching at the house and just steady up and get very specific. And first of all, state Hun and Po, indicating Tuhi skull and then Tuhi heart.
Oh, we're talking practically and objectively. Okay.
I am confused, but I am listening. Thank
You're
you
not
for the
speaking
explanation.
poetically today.
Look, the point is, if anyone says you don't have a soul, and whatever dumbass excuse they say, tell me and I'll beat them up.
I appreciate the offer of supportive violence.
Yeah.
Is this what friendship is?
Uh-huh.
Understood.
Angler, having heard that, goes, it is a type of friendship. It is not the only type of friendship.
Acknowledged.
The dad instincts kicked in there for a second.
Ears twitching.
Hold on.
Hold
That's a dangerous generalization. Let me
Don't
fix
teach
that
the
one real
house
quick.
curses.
Let's fix that one right there. Also, did someone touch the thermostat? Hold on. What the temperature change in here?
I'm gonna teach Onyx how to say fuck.
I am already quite
no.
aware of how to say. But Repose was so interrupted by many people with bad ideas.
Also, I would, as a player, wonder, hey, do you think Obsidian might remember that time that he found, a book spontaneously written in by mysteries?
I don't remember that.
Then out of character, I think Nubi's forgotten that, yes.
Yeah, like legitimately, I don't remember that.
All right, it was after one of the times that we visited the house.
Okay.
And then after leaving, while Obsidian was like looking through one of his books, he found additional pages had been written on.
It was one of your war manuals, I believe, had additional advice written into it by a ghostly hand.
Oh, okay.
Well, not literally ghostly, but,
Maybe literally.
And I feel like at the time it was stated and figured out that, House.
Mm-hmm.
House somehow wrote the book to memory.
Yep.
Maybe?
Go on.
Well, do you think Obsidian would think about this?
In
Be
character?
reminded of this in character. After having talked about, alright, so there's probably like important words written in the house that define things that it knows.
What if should we send Onyx to school?
I want to go to school.
I
Hey,
mean, Onyx is
what if
already maintaining
Onyx
servers,
is
though.
your apprentice shipman?
Onyx is
Actually,
already
Onyx, do you
maintaining servers.
want anything?
No one's put on Skinnerd yet, though.
Do I? Do I want any?
I mean, you don't even have to answer. If you're just happy, that's fine. Just making sure. Yeah, if you don't want you to feel left out or anything.
Unclear. Memory blockage.
You want to remember your memories?
I believe.
Okay, this is bad.
Oh no! At this point, Milan's like, "Hey, guys, I need your help for a project."
I'm actually curious after the conversations that he's had with the house. Would Angler have stepped in there of, hey, do you want to remember? It is said out loud very loudly.
Angler would actually be a-okay with them remembering, because remembering is the first step to getting through pain.
Yeah.
Yeah, and if the boat wants to talk about it, that's fine. We can be here and we can listen. If it doesn't want to, that's also fine.
I mean, we are asking the boat to do quite a bit of help for us here with the gateway and what have you, so it'd be
Yeah, I mean, it's
probably
only-
beneficial to have the boat in optimum condition and also just to help a friend.
Yeah, I don't like taking advantage of people.
Yang.
We're here for you, Onyx.
Yang.
Yeah?
Yang.
What's up?
Yang. Usher into a close distance. Yang, please be more mindful about overly humanizing an alien being.
Why? Why not?
Gang, consider you have asked Onyx if it wants anything. What is want? Yang,
Impulse.
how do you know want?
You don't. That's how you communicate. So you learn. If it wants bad things, then we can teach it why they're bad.
No, Yang, very very practically. Why do you, not the individual standing in front of me, want
What?
anything? What is the first moment in your life which you remember wanting anything?
Wanting someone to rescue me from being kidnapped by Excelsi.
Well, yeah,
Well-
I derailed this conversation.
I mean, you poked the trauma tiger.
I mean, it didn't happen, so that was bad. And maybe I can do something for the boat, and bad thing won't happen to it. That's it. Is that bad?
However, Pose can salvage this. There's also a soundtrack. Nice.
Oh,
Is
yeah,
that
it's
bad?
racist music.
Danger.
Did Repose just blue screen?
No,
I was
Repose
about
is-
to get his Onyx, and then the music started.
And then Lavo showed up.
Yang,
Yeah?
why did you wish to escape?
Because they were hurting me.
Yes,
I didn't like it.
you have an aversion to pain.
Yeah.
You know hunger. You know fear of death.
Also, I don't like killing people.
You and I are animals, and we are mortals. And so these things are intrinsic portions of our being that were instilled in us at the moment of our birth.
The fact that we die.
Yes.
I mean, the boat's gonna die too, eventually. Just longer.
Will it, though?
Yeah. Hell, the planet will blow up at some point, probably. Everything ends. And then something else happens. Just because something else is going to come after isn't an excuse to not try and make it better now.
End is not death. Death is not end. They're different.
What are you doing up in the rafters?
To die and to
Old man
end
just
are two
head hoisted
entirely
himself
different
even higher
concepts,
up.
Yang. The old man hops down and actually is furious.
Repose is very nodding in agreement with Old Man about this.
To end is when you die, or when any of these die, you're speaking with someone who communicates and knows a ghost, multiple ghosts who are still extant and live around them. To die is not even close to an end. There's so many more things beyond death. I've died once. I'm still around.
Yeah,
There's
and
two
you-
entirely different concepts between end and death, and something that can die. Onyx cannot die. Probably.
Like
I'm
physically,
pretty sure
or
Onyx cannot die. But that is not the same thing as Onyx being able to come to an end, because those are two separate things.
so you're saying if I didn't just sit here for the next century dismantling him part by part to prove this point, I would never do that. I love him. But if I did that, you say he wouldn't be dead.
It is not the same thing as the death and the end are two separate concepts. Is
Well,
what I'm saying.
sometimes.
Is Onyx this specific arrangement of bricks, or is it a name which we have attached to the very vital essence of the All-Mother, which has arranged itself beneath our feet.
Yes, both.
This conversation is going to continue to go off on tangents
Yeah,
farther
now
and
we're
farther
just.
from.
I'm trying to think of
Enjoying
different
every
tangents.
second of this, though.
Yep.
Yeah, like Yang would probably go off like, okay, so what? If a baby was born and never got a name, would it just suddenly not have rights?
And these are non sequiturs, but thought-provoking non sequiturs as well. They merit comment, but are unrelated to the initial subject of, hey, don't assume that a brick wants anything. It's a brick. It doesn't hunger. It's not mortal. It's not alive. It's a brick. Its whole means of
Someone
existence is
did
completely
Yang's-
different from
Yang's
you.
entire-
Someone
Yang's
did
entire-
an enormous disservice, causing these bricks to think. And then here you are worrying about when it dies or not.
Yang is basically saying like, okay, well, yeah, just because it's a brick doesn't mean we should assume that like it's going to go this like it's a brick with a soul in it. We should at least ask it if it wants anything. We have to communicate with the sentient being that has some sort of life. We all agree it's alive, right?
I will see. I don't. But
There
then
isn't
again,
either
I
sort
also
of
don't
soul
fully
in
believe
it.
I'm alive.
I
So
checked.
there's a difference.
Yeah, I mean, we checked against your, wait. Hey, what do you mean you checked?
I checked.
How?
The arts.
You made a pot? How the hell is that going to tell you if he has a soul or not? Let me see the pot, though. I want to see it.
There is a vase that has been made. This is unrelated to also explaining, no, the arts more broadly.
This is vis-a-vis. This is unrelated vis-a-vis our Naruto debate, but
Onyx is not an elemental, or god, or devil, or deva, who's been attached to this place. Onyx simply is the place.
is it impossible he's a categorization of thing that we do not in this age have a name for?
We have a name for it's a manse. It's a house.
What if it's wrong in this day and age? You're saying there's no chance that this boat is shaped like a friend.
No friend of mine.
You don't have any friends.
Not anymore. Now it's on
Yang?
purpose.
Would you consider the presence of a human soul a prerequisite for friendship?
No.
Then why does it so upset you to be told that Onyx lacks one?
Just
I find no distress in knowing that I lack something that is innate to a human body.
You're
as I do
better
not
off.
have-
wait, hold on. When did we start arguing about if he has a soul or not? What were we arguing about in the first place?
This appears to be a common occurrence with you, Yang.
Right. He can't want things because he's a boat. Was that it?
He can't want things because he was not designed to want things.
Who did
Are we certain
design
about
it?
that?
Maybe they did a bad job.
I would say so. Again, someone did an enormous disservice to these bricks by making them think.
I mean, the boat clearly has anxiety, right? What kind of fucking design is that?
Exactly.
It's not a perfect
That's
design,
that's a
clearly. So there could be
mistake.
some margin for error here.
Someone
Yeah, so
gave
are
these
we.
perfectly good bricks anxiety. Look what they did. They fucked up.
We're perfectly good meat with anxiety. This fucking water is perfectly
That's
good.
also a mistake. Not the anxiety, the making the meat part.
By whom?
So, repose? Who made meat?
Dear Miyamoto.
Raise hand, and turn and thoughtfully walk away.
Coward. This means I win.
As an aside, at some
Win.
point during this conversation, Obsidian had also walked away while you all were
Yeah.
arguing about souls.
You may
Just
notice
start going
Obsidian's
on
token is
Obsidian.
gone. Obsidian left the manse while you were arguing.
Just take the exactly 5 steps away and wait conspicuously.
I'd like to
Who
think
made
that
meat? Oh, do we want to begin real education? Is it
I'd
time
like
for
to
meat
think
talk?
that both Angler and Vanif were just calmly sipping tea while this incredibly loud and long argument was going on. Just yep,
really a name.
We had this conversation
Nothing
about
of an
10 years ago in
argument.
school.
Yep.
Yep.
Now it's Yang's turn to have this argument. Everyone gets one.
Yeah, the
Hey,
Dynast
Onyx?
goes through this part of philosophical anxiety early, so they squish it.
Hey, Onyx,
Yes,
could you notify everyone to meet in the archway room?
of course.
All right, if we want to distill some abstract bullet points for people to maybe process in the aftermath of the cluster talk.
Scholar Dome.
Yeah, the Scholar Dome that briefly convened here. Repose was taking every opportunity to try and put out reminders to try to put in Yang's mind that, all right, you're extremely sympathetic, and that's great and wonderful, but do not let that make you presume that other things are like you.
Yeah, I guess Yang's bullet points
Alien
are
beings
like, you know,
exist, and
Yeah, Yang's bullet points are, it doesn't have to be like me, we just have to share certain common points, and I have to at least talk to it and treat it like what I believe I would want to be treated like for me to know and learn how to talk to it. Just very badly worded in a lot more roundabout way and very stupidly.
and like, okay, that is a good and wonderful thing about you, my weird grass brother. There has to be some point at which you reach acceptance of the
No.
nature of things beyond your reach
Always
or
more.
outside yourself.
Everything now.
Also, to expand on this, when you wait for everybody to show up, Obsidian never shows up. Obsidian has gone on a walk.
Well, we kind of need him for this. We might have to wait.
I am unsure of when Obsidian will be returning. He seems to be somewhat upset.
Well, in that case, we should probably wait for him to return after he's worked out whatever this is. If we're going to be making this, Beneath, is this a connection? Tying like a knot? Whatever this is, we should probably all be in some relatively even keel place mentally.
I'm pretty sure a good chunk of what you're doing is basically just going to be pissing mana into this.
Yes, but more.
There's no need to be more
Metaphorically.
elegant or eloquent about what is happening here. That's how you get pretension.
I believe the old man is correct.
Had an idea of the story. Fine, we'll just.
You
Don't
know
man
what?
it.
We've got
That's-
some time. Why don't you tell us the story?
All right, I was gonna go on a whole thing about like the 4 elements and growing a
Four?
plant and
Beneath, what's going on? 4?
5.
There you go.
3,
12.
7.
Look, the 8 elements: fire, water, wood, tapioca.
Double wood.
Taxes.
Milan has misplaced his sense of direction,
And
as in
dirt.
how many directions there are in the world.
And our Tuesday.
I don't know, north,
I
south,
mean-
up, left,
We could probably just
spin.
yeah. If we just need to dump mana into this, then we can just. We should be fine with just the 5 of us here.
What worries me is if that we're going to actually travel through the ley lines. It might be safer if we're all going to do it if the ley lines know our handprint, I guess is the best way I want to describe it, and shaping the connection from this manse to the ley lines itself.
You're going to want everyone here. Either go get
Mhm.
obsidian or we wait.
A complicating factor is that Obsidian requested that the boat be returned to him and did not intend to stop until the boat had made its way back to him. At my calculations, that is approximately 4 days of walking. As I said, Obsidian seems somewhat upset.
He didn't know that y'all had something planned.
We should go talk to him.
All right, let's go get him.
I'm gonna use the Wooden's Carry's word charm to send a message to Obsidian saying, "Hey, we need your help for a project back at the manse."
Out in the middle of the woods somewhere, Obsidian heaves a sigh and begins walking back the other way.
Propose will be zooping out to meet him halfway.
And tells Onyx to continue returning the boat, but to park it a mile or so, or whatever units of measurement this universe uses.
A while away, yeah. So yeah, the group would be able to reconvene outside Repose and Obsidian if there's any exchange there, and then if not, then back to the Archway.
Propose will not, prompt Obsidian to say anything, but he is there to listen.
It's fine. I just had some thinking to do, and I do my best thinking on a boat.
All right, so get token, bring it back up. Okay, so I'm going to be using an accelerated version of the Sorcerer's Working Rules because there are 5 Dragon-Blooded and 2 Sorcerers involved on this. And I also lowballed the actual automated repair, so it would have been an equivalent amount of time if I used the default rules. So, let's see, let's add up what this is going to be. Okay, so first of all, you want to set your finesse, which is a 1, 3, or 5. 1 is that I have full control over what happens. You tell me a general goal you have, but I have all the detail power. 3 is you come up with a rough description and a general outline that I can tweak, but it is largely coming from what you do. 5 is you have total control of what happens.
Let's set it at 3 to get a little bit of the good spiciness in it.
All right. Okay, so then let's see. Means you have complementary spells, operation. Yeah, each of these adds a roll for time, makes components. Okay, so you're gonna want to roll me Intelligence Occult. Each interval is going to be 3 hours.
Okay, Intelligence Occult.
You have a goal target of 20 successes.
Are we all rolling it, or is it just Vinny?
This is just Melon.
Okay.
Really?
Hmm?
Imagine this is I'm the one who's not actually putting any mana in. It'd be more me, but
Well, this depends on who is being designated as the head sorcerer of the working. Would that be Milana World?
Would Old Man take charge of this project, or let
honestly, yes. I think so.
Okay.
Okay.
Just because, I mean, what are you going to do being both part of the power source and also the working part?
All right.
Also, old man shot down Milan's flowery metaphor idea, so
A sample of the ongoing series of Rum Rusher arts depicting current events. Onyx being represented as child with just a complete boat for a head.
It's like a
It's like a-
capo. It's like a
it's like a-
capo.
I was gonna say it's like a fucked up Animal Crossing character.
Yeah. But
It's the alternative is, why is Old Man even here?
yeah, fair enough.
I like the idea of Old Man taking charge and yanking this project out of Milan's control.
Milan's hands, just give me that. I know how to do this. So you are rolling for a total number of successes of 20. You have, let me double check that. 4 rolls to get 20 successes.
That shouldn't be that bad, honestly.
Uh,
Real bad this
you
first one,
also,
but it happens.
I forgot. Finesse means that the first 3 successes each roll do not count. It's excess successes on top of that.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, that is
Difficulty.
Yeah, you are the difficulty addition means that you get to dictate more of what happens. If you just say that it's just flat successes and successes, I say whatever the hell I want. You can mandatorily take on extra difficulty to dictate more of the narrative, which is
okay.
options.
Did Old Man get any benefit to the stunt for all 5 of us feeding our energy into him?
That is one of the extra roles as you all interacting.
Gotcha.
Yeah, means are. Oh wait, no, it's a terminus of 5 rolls. So no, you have 9 rolls to do this. So this is just a
Okay,
matter of how
there we
long.
go.
Yeah, I forgot that it starts at a default of 5 rather than 1.
Because yeah, this was seeming a little bit a lot to do this otherwise.
No. I massively forgot the default rules, and I had to double check. Yeah.
Well,
Okay.
first one was nothing, but there you go. That's something nice. So that's
Okay.
already 8.
Yep, that is 8 successes.
That's another 3.
Yep. So
Another 2.
14,
It's another 4.
18.
And there you go.
You're good. So this is, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 times 3. So this is gonna take about 18 hours of work across the rest of the day. And the rest of the crew can float in and out. It's not, their presence is not necessary for all 18 hours. Old Man's is, of course, but everybody
not
else
wrong.
acting as backup can, take shifts.
Proposes
doesn't get
there
tired,
the
it's
whole
fine.
time, vibrating furiously.
Okay, so Milan, give me the rough outline of how you want this portal reattachment to function.
So, my initial plan was to, the flowery plan was like to funnel the mana elements in sequence of like dirt,
Elemental cycle.
elemental cycle, and then, but now we're just like dumping it all in. So, my plan is to basically borehole a mana path from this to the ley lines.
Okay. So in practice, Old Man is not actually that overly challenged. It is challenging in the sense that it is a long-term endurance demanding project, but that's what Old Man is excellent at. And metaphysically speaking, this is actually quite simple for Old Man. It is find the low-lying part of reality and realign how the essence flows through it to go, flow like water. Go through where pre-existing connections already are going to get you to where they are with the path of least resistance. The major effort is finding a path of least resistance that actually gets you out to the full ley lines. Is it as efficient as it could be? No. Is it as, direct as it could be? No. But it is also cheap and pretty guaranteed to not go badly. It is going to just naturally, unless something cataclysmically screws up the ley lines or the natural geomancy of the region, by using the lowest level in the path of least resistance, this will always work. It will take basically targeted sabotage or a natural disaster to turn this thing back off. The downside is that it is slightly a little inefficient and screwy and might have a couple of side effects every now and again. And at the-
Just like everything I've ever made. Efficient and good at its job. Also might explode.
A little weird, don't worry about it, don't look too closely. Don't call OSHA, don't be a cop. But yeah, so after the 18 hours is complete...
I feel subtweeted, but good fan art.
I think that's just a super tweet.
Yeah.
At the end of the 18 hours, there is a sudden electrical charge in the air as the center of the portal begins to shimmer, as though, you know the effect ice has when it freezes over a mirror, where it's just kind of dappled and weird to look at, and it's just very unsettled, and you're not sure if you're looking through it or looking at yourself? That's the kind of texture the air itself takes in the portal way. And it appears to snap through a bunch of half-resolved images as if searching for a complete connection, finding a failure, switching, finding a failure, switching, until there is a reverting to the hazy texture of the air before a very familiar scene shows up to Obsidian, and a somewhat familiar scene shows up to the rest of them. One of the cabin doors at the bottom of Obsidian's boat. The perspective of it is that it is opening up into the main hold below decks. And one of the crew members, flickering glass, is actually walking by in the view of the portal, turns to look at the crew through the shimmering archway, and visibly mouths, but is not heard, "What the fuck?" Is just sort of staring at the six of you, just like rubs his eyes, kind of slaps his head. He's like, "Am I drunk? Am I asleep?"
Old man
What?
gives him the thumbs up.
Is it done? Can we go through it?
Obsidian, take the lead.
Seems unnecessary for it to have parked now, isn't it?
Oh, sorry, I was muted. Obsidian walks there.
You have a very brief lurching sensation in your stomach, as though you are in the... It is as though you have gone from standing in a normal space to falling at terminal velocity with nothing in between, and then back to normal space with the boat underneath your feet. Just this brief moment of, ah! Okay, I'm good. You're not sure how much time passed, and you're not sure what just happened, but from the look on Flickering Glass's face, it must not have been very long, and he is very confused.
Hey,
I'm gonna car wheel through the door.
Hi, boss? What just happened? What's going on?
Fort comes through first, then the rest of Old Man.
I'm trying to think of... No, he's probably gone to the cave with the crew.
Yeah, the crew
100%.
had seen the manse and had been
Yeah.
warned to shut up about it.
You know,
Yeah.
I don't really mention this very often, but I do like your boat. When it's just a boat.
The broken arch at the base? The crew, the mages in the crew did some work on it, and it's apparently a doorway to the boat.
Well, that seems awful handy, actually, boss.
Yeah, especially for just think of all the work we can do. We can take way more cargo than we should be able to fit.
Wait a minute, yeah, now we just have a whole...
At the base.
Wait a minute, yeah, no, now we just have an infinite cargo deck.
Not infinite.
Big, but not infinite.
You can only fit as much as you can at the manse itself, physically anyway.
Well, compared to boats, it's a pretty big cargo bay, all right?
But pretty big isn't infinite.
Fine. Look, I'm still
Yes.
dealing with the fact that you just walked out of a door from a couple of 100 miles away, okay?
Oh, hardly
Just-
like this is that impressive.
Just give him this one. He'll never shut up.
I'm getting that feeling, boss.
This isn't that impressive.
At this point, a piece of paper is going to fly through the portal and hit someone in the shoulder.
Flickering glass flinches back, just like, ah!
On
Oh.
it says, could someone walk back? We need to make sure this is a two-way.
Would walk back through the door.
Yep, two-way.
What
Just
was your name?
the same sensation of flickering glass, sir.
Flickering glass?
Mm-hmm.
So what, like it's broken and like light is reflecting off the shards or something?
I think my mother meant it like a lamp in the dark with glass. Like, it's kind of a. He just kind of shrugs.
Old man taps him on the shoulder and then leaves with that.
One of the crew hasn't interacted with the.
The rest of the
I have to establish the crew more so we can have more of the
This is part
crew.
of the way so we can have more crew interactions and more boat interaction. Is the first
As-
portal you unlock is the boat.
Yeah, as it's on, I'll be right back.
Okay.
I'm in a very bullying mood today.
Old man's feeling spicy.
You just made old man do 18 hours of work. He's got to bully something.
Angler is going to look up at the ceiling and say, Onyx, how much
Yeah?
strain are you under from all of that? Are you all right?
I sincerely appreciate you checking, but I am under no strain whatsoever. The automatic infrastructure of the network has already taken care of it.
And the doorway itself, or this gate, what is this called? A gateway?
I believe its original name was a transportation network.
Okay, this network, it's become stable. It can be dammed up if need be.
Yes, the connection can be shut out from the outside. The only stable connection that I have been able to find through the network has been only to my own boat. But if I am able to find any other pre-existing portals throughout the mainline network that I can connect to, I will be sure to let you know.
If we find those connections ourselves on our way out in the world, since you have a connection to Obsidian through the Hearthstone, would that be able to make the connection easier?
Yes, you would be able to repair them and integrate them into the network if they had been knocked offline.
Excellent. Last question with that. How would we be able to easily tell these connection points? Is that just a feeling of the elements themselves, or is there some marking or something that might make it more familiar to us?
Convergences of the ley line, and perhaps already existing infrastructure that may have fallen into disrepair or been deliberately disabled.
You know, if we reference that map I made with just a normal regional map, we could probably approximate where some locations are.
You probably
Absolutely.
could.
I'd like to see if that connection reaches all the way back to the Isle.
That was a project I was hoping to work on at some point.
I think the two of us should work on that. That's something I think we both need to
Paging memory.
take care of.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
The Blessed Isle Transit Network, in all likelihood, from probability forecasting, is heavily intact due to the presence of the socioeconomic control by the Scarlet Empress after the interregnum. However, connections to its ley lines are likely to be heavily guarded and will require a direct access point by a... There is a pause. More physical interface in order to connect it with my own network.
I have an idea, but I don't like it.
I have an idea, and I think I like it a little bit more than yours.
I just don't want grandmother to know about this place yet.
We need to find a map of the Isle. I have... And then he just kind of pauses and then looks over at Obsidian. Obsidian, does this place have a map of the Isle?
Obsidian probably has a map of the Isle of being a traitor.
Yeah, I know, but
Obsidian
like
has
a
a world
large one we
map
can look at.
somewhere, or
Yeah.
a known world map.
Speaking of the world map, holy shit, it's the first time in months I could switch back to it and have it matter. Give me one moment. Behold,
God, it's so huge.
the jumbo large. Remember, you have
Oh
only
God,
been,
that hurts so much.
Behold
remember,
the many Frances of creation.
you have been. Let me get the pointer tool. You have been roughly here. You've been here to. I can't. The sizes of these
The
cells
squares
are
are
too
too
big.
big.
Like
Also,
you have
the
been
grid
from
is
Grey
on.
Falls to the river on the right and down a little bit, and that has been the entire play area of this game. The rest of this world map has not been touched.
This
Oh, we
actually
got
hurts.
Chanta over here? Chanta?
Chanta.
That's a half outside hand.
It's got to be Chanta. Chanta, Chanta, Chanta.
Okay, so if we have the world map and we overlay the map of the connections, is there any
Well, like-
connections?
I think the ley lines that we have are local.
Local.
Yeah.
You have the local ones, but take a look at this map and see if there's any one very
Taking
large elemental line.
extremely-
Yeah,
Like
that's what I was thinking.
That's just kind of free, is that you get onto the river network and you just have a straight shot to the Imperial City, and then from there you would be able to use the Blessed Isles network. The catch is that you would be going to the Imperial City.
Okay.
The catch is that you would be linking the man to the Imperial City, which Obsidian probably does not approve of.
We would need
No.
to put so many firewalls on that.
Stepping away a moment.
The thought process I have, and this is just something that I don't know if it'll work or not, but if we have a person on this side and a person on the other side that are connected either through a hearth or a deep emotional connection, that might find a way for us to find the link.
Perhaps.
The only question I have is how secure it is, because the last thing I want is for unwanted people from the island to come here.
Security would be relatively high. However, I would not rule out the ability of the realm sorcerers from my projections to find some way to get back if they were sufficiently motivated and aware of the connection. I cannot rule it out, but I can also not say that it would be easy.
Okay, and here's my next question. Could we have a connection from one of those other ley line locations out in the 100 Kingdoms go directly to the Isle, or does it have to pass through here?
In order to exert control over it, it would have to come through my central node. Otherwise, you would be
Correct.
performing a larger terraforming project outside of my purview.
Okay. Thank you very much, Onyx.
Understood.
The angler's gonna kind of wander away a little bit and just kind of stew over all that information for a bit.
I have a connection to Onyx and only me through the brain, right?
Yes, you have a direct through the Hearthstone psychic connection no one else can hear.
Okay, cool, dope. I would tell Onyx that that connection does not get established unless that they can confirm that, like, say something along the lines of nobody can come through unless they're with one of us.
Understood.
Obsidian does not want a direct line to the Isles.
Understandable.
Understood.
Like even the dynasts are like.
The dynasts are more trying to figure out what the parameters, well, at least this dynast is trying to figure out what the parameters are. If he, I don't want to say more than Obsidian does not want to bring all of that stuff down, but he certainly doesn't want to bring any kind of heat this direction, because having lived with the dynasts for quite a while, yeah, those people suck.
Yeah, especially if they learn that there's an infinite pile of fabulous riches and a first stage general intelligence to go mess with.
Milan is terrified that the discovery of this would spark a civil war.
I mean, the Civil War is already
Yes.
being talked about as kind of like a given at some point, and nobody knows when.
This is the spark that sets off
Yeah.
the embloodening.
Yeah, like, this is a very high list on the candidates of something that would accelerate the passive smoldering into somebody making an ill-advised power play.
Just thinking about it because I'm curious. Do any of the ley lines reach towards the shogunate down there?
The Venean shogunate would be connected by the river ley lines, yes.
Okay. I'm just more like a rough idea of how long the connections are.
Basically, the ley line network teleportation stuff will allow you to use the boat and fast travel at the same time. And basically anything on the major dots on the river list, you sail the boat out there and you establish the fast travel point and it'll come on.
Yeah, I kind of figured. It was more that, but about the same concern with the Isle is also places like, oh, I don't know, Thorns and the City of the Dead. I don't want to make connections there on accident because something there might try to come back immediately.
City of the Dead's pretty landlocked, so there's not going to be
You would have to, like, go through several different other things.
But Thorns is what I'm worried about.
We just don't... I imagine even though we're active, we're not broadcasting anything into the ley lines.
I don't
Or
know.
if we are, it would have to be someone specifically looking in this one tiny corner of the ley line to see, like, oh, hey, there's something here. And the ley lines are over here are a giant spiderweb network.
No,
Okay,
the ley lines giant spiderweb network is a lot nastier.
Silly question. Would either Angler, or this is for the DM, would either Angler or Milan...
Darren has collapsed.
Oh.
He's Darren.
Whoops. Fell out of the call for a sec. Could you repeat that?
Sure, no problem. I'm now worried that it made you leave the call. It's a bad idea. But
No. I just hit the wrong hotkey.
Would either Milan or Angler have known of any prominent ley lines on the island nearby their house holdings?
I could probably say Milan. Just
I would say just roll me, like, wits bureaucracy.
Also, for all questions about ley lines, they are everywhere and everything.
Yeah, it's a matter of sufficiently large ones.
Yeah,
doing
a prominent one.
doing useful geomancy is big infrastructure work for adults.
You either are taking.
I know where the ley lines on the Isle are.
Could we find a ley
You would
line from
know-
A to B is, all right, could we build a highway from A to B? Same energy, similar question.
It is a matter of, is there already a highway to take advantage of? Yeah, you both know where they all are. Like, you both have this would be something that the Blessed Isle does not hide because, number one, you can't really hide it. Number two, it is their public infrastructure.
It's an
You know
important
where
part of
all
the
their ley
building
lines are.
codes.
We've probably taken those ley lines.
Ley line based teleportation is uncommon, but you might have once or twice.
Yeah.
They're more along the lines of like aqueduct kind of infrastructure rather than a highway. This is an unusual use of a ley line.
The portal we have here is a weird, dumb first stage trick.
Yeah.
Ah, okay. So in that case, it's probably I've
So
worked
this is
with. Okay.
Mhm. Yeah, mostly they are like electrical lines or waterways or other resource transportation methods of infrastructure. This is a dumb sorcerer trick, which is what Onyx was getting at when Onyx said, like, they probably wouldn't even think of this or see this coming, but if they found out, they would be very interested in what the hell is going on.
So the reason I'm curious about this, and because both Vanif and I got very high scores on this, rolls on this, is it possible we would know places that are much less used or even
Yes.
forgotten? Okay.
So the thing about the Blessed Isle, and now that we are on the big dumb map that is evident of the extent of the scale for Exalted writers is quite similarly stupid. The Blessed Isle is huge. The Blessed Isle is enormous. The Blessed Isle itself is like the size of China. There is
Blessed
plenty
Isle,
of space.
home to exactly 3 forests, as depicted here.
Yes.
The rest of them all got eaten up because, of course, wood is abundant and
Wood is
we're
very
shooting up
abundant. We have
so on
3
and
of
so
it.
forth. Yeah.
Boy, every time I look at this island, I actually get upset. And by island, I mean map.
Why are you so bald? Blessed Isle.
There's a reason that the general map that I was intending to use for most of this game is the zoomed in version of the East that makes it look sane, and not the whole thing at once. But yeah, no, the Blessed Isle is gargantuan. There are lots of rural areas. There are areas that are more or less just entirely kind of abandoned to outlaws and just people who are kind of living their own independent thing. The Scarlet Empire could go in and crush them, but there's just no economic incentive to, so whatever, leave them alone. There would be places on the Isle you could sneak in a leyline teleportation and probably get away with pretty easily. The catch is that it would be in the ass end of nowhere. But
Okay.
considerably closer to important places on the Isle than where you are right now.
Okay, and here's the play I'm going for. I don't know if I can introduce an idea with this or not, but it was...
Well, you can go ahead.
It was due to the conversation that Angler had with Koi when he went and talked to his family. They mentioned that Angler had a lake that he went to that he meditated on the bottom of, because would aspect be like that?
That would probably be on a ley line.
Yeah, I would say, like, is the bottom of that lake a ley line connection point that might be forgotten, and that's why he just kind of has an unconscious connection to it?
I would not say that it is the terminus point for a ley line. It would be along it. So you might be able to pop out of it, but your family also lives relatively near pretty dense population, I would say.
Yeah, they would.
So
I mean, they're not
that,
going to be the most prominent because households were thin blood, so I mean, what do we do? But yes,
that's
we're probably...
you are still popping out in a pretty heavily populated area that might have people go, "What the fuck was that?" if they're sorceress and looking around. But it is certainly a lot safer than trying to find somewhere in the middle of the capital city. Because trying that would probably just get you immediately jumped by like 20 sorcerers.
But it means we might have a way in if we need to emergency get there.
Yeah, if you have no pre-establishment, that pool on the Blessed Isle would be a Hail Mary jump you could probably try and attempt.
So, while we're here, I'd actually like to establish 2 facts about the Isles and the Department of Transportation.
Sure, go ahead.
So, in creating my God, what's the term for it? The business thing.
The
CRM.
creation ruling mandate
Yeah.
stat?
Yes. I have established 2 projects that Milan has accomplished that, as we'll get to, has made him more than a couple enemies. First is, all throughout the Isle, there is a network of small bureaucracy like field offices, which are just kind of like houses and tiny shacks.
Yeah.
That-
Way places for the transportation.
Yep, and that like bureaucrats will travel to, like, okay, you need like someone to repair the road. Well, they'll come by here on a certain date, and then you talk with them, and then they'll work things out.
Mm-hmm.
You
Also-
made ISP helplines.
Yeah,
Yes.
pretty much. Second is, all these major roads, none of them are owned by any of the houses anymore. These are all independent and locally owned.
Yes, I did see that on your sheet, and I was very pleased by that because, man, the dynastic houses would be furious about that.
There might be a reason Milan's out here for so long and not back here.
Yeah, like after House Vanif is elevated and one of the first actions of the ministry, that's probably the reason you don't have funding anymore, frankly, is your first initiative was to nationalize the roads and take it out of the direct holdings of each dynastic house's territory and put it back towards the imperial throne. And then you probably just got kicked in the teeth for that, and your funding mysteriously just vanished.
hey, that's kind of how I set up this network of field offices, because now the locals really like me.
Yeah.
Milan is actually pretty popular with some of the rural areas.
Yeah, you would probably have a short list of candidates of, I could probably pop out of a hole here and nobody would ask too many questions.
Like, if we need to go to the Isle, I have safe houses for us.
Yes.
You do, I do. We've got options.
I used
Mhm.
to.
Actually, yeah, that is a very, very relevant point, is that there are Excelsi bolt holes all over the goddamn place on the island.
I could probably keep anyone alive on just some random island, mountain for any given amount of time. So
yeah, like, it may be slightly out of date, but Yang would have a list of, like,
Honestly,
you go
I'm
to this
probably-
shack and give the secret handshake, and they're gonna let you in, and they're not gonna ask any questions.
I don't know why I assume I've been kicked out. I'm probably still an assassin working for SLC. They probably don't give a shit about any of the other things I've been
I
doing.
mean, until like that's the thing about House of Celsi is unless you literally go into public and say House of Celsi still exists and I'm quitting it, they really don't fucking care. You're still a member of House of Celsi because you're just doing your thing. The only expectation they have is when we send the big letter that says murder everyone that you do it.
Yeah, if I ever get told to murder somebody, I gotta.
I imagine if anything,
Or you could just not.
if
Sometimes I just
anything, the SLC look at Yang and think, weird flex with the Yakuman thing, but okay. And just
The
not
Excelsi,
get
if anything, if they knew what happened to Yang as a general like body politic and looked at Yang, they'd be disappointed at trying to not like murder everyone, but they'd be like, you got the right anger and the right spirit, but have you considered killing all of your relatives though?
have you considered killing all your relatives, though?
I mean, the training told me, but then I was like, no, wait. I don't do that anymore.
Vengeance, though.
And then you met your relatives, and your relatives were cool.
Yeah.
Yep.
But have
And you went, why would I want to kill them?
anyway?
Propose would have stayed out of lines of conversation related to the Big Island. He's just quietly but visibly ruffled at how casually the central gentlemen are able to talk about the extremely sacred and important center of the world pillar which holds up the sky.
The center of all things, fundamental axis upon which creation turns, the lifeblood of the dragon which flows to and from it. Yeah, that's just the local
Yeah,
infrastructure.
The house of the supreme progenitor of 1/5 of the divine army.
Yeah, where I grew up.
Yeah, it's like living
south.
next to a national monument. Everyone else might think it's a really cool thing to go visit, but if you live 5 minutes away, it's just
Yeah,
the
it's
way
just
it is.
there. Why does
Yeah,
everybody think it's so cool? I've spent 20 years of my life next to it, and it's just there.
It's the center of creation. It hasn't moved.
It is
Not
very
that
important,
impressive.
but the majesty of it starts to wear off slightly. It's still there if you think about it, but
Rose doesn't
It's
go
like-
into the conversation. He's not going to tell you how to be from the middle.
We're just
He's
being
not going to
judged.
tell you, he's going to think it very loudly.
I'm not impressed by it.
oh man, I got another 2 question marks on my thing from Obsidian. Not Obsidian. Sorry, Repose.
You have question marks from Obsidian.
Damn it.
Well, he who illuminates both worlds with majesty and power. Supreme Patriarch of the Center. Third Circle, Soul of the All-Mother, Pasiap. He allows many things to occur on his back, it's fine.
So, with the wide range map exhausted, I'll go back to the zoomed in eastern map if there are any other
East Island map.
East Island map to just have a little more of a focused look on the nearby terrain rather than just the Isle as to other points of interest you might want to poke at while you're planning on the perhaps we leave the area for
Big
Act
river
2
zone.
and do adventures.
It's just
Hey,
an
let's-
idea to keep an eye on.
Let's never go to Lookshy.
Never going. No. We're never going to Look Shy.
Let's never go there.
Fire a single cannon shot at them disrespectfully as you sail by.
A couple boats come out to see us. I just walk on the water towards them. Nope. Turn around. We are not doing this. Well, I do... Okay, one last thing here. Milan, you have a way of communicating with people via your face in the tree, correct?
I can speak to whoever is around whatever trees I've made or grandmother's private garden.
So you do have a connection back home. Okay. How long has it been since you've checked in?
Talked with her now and then. It's
been a couple. I think it's been a little over a month.
There's
been
out of session.
Okay.
I've called home now and then, not talked about anything important. Just so how are things?
Catching up on the ants.
It's mostly is the island actually on fire? Is the question? Has it happened yet?
As of a few days ago, no.
So I will actually give you an update because hey, there's several political and time event trackers in the background. The latest thing that has happened is that Nemen has gone from just kind of passive aggressively acting and talking in public as though she was the presumed heir to just outright saying Mud want me to be the heir in her absence. She just never had the time to just say that. So there's a much more direct, no, really, this is mine, that has been stated. And there has been, polite knife-holding people saying, like, no, she never said that. That's not how this works. But it has not escalated beyond that yet.
Boy, that was a long one-sided conversation when I found that out.
You mean, when you say conversation, just a lot of her yelling and you just kind of, well, I don't know if you can nod with the tree, but just the polite noises.
Pretty much.
Crunching noise.
Yeah, we've all been on that side of that conversation.
Yep. But yeah, it's
Grandma has opinions.
Grandma has opinions about great aunt Menemen being a presumptuous little shit.
Okay. Again, that's something
presumptuous old
touch
shit.
on. Yeah. Angler has a couple things he wants to check on in the local area, but most of what he wanted to double check with the connections to the ley lines and stuff, he's going to have to stew over for a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
He is actually wanting to check in on the place that has the Immaculate Order in there and see how that's going on.
Okay, so you're checking in on
That's more like something he's going to do when we have an opportunity. I'm not saying like right this second. It's more I am taking a step back from asking a bajillion questions if other people have things they want to do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, does anyone else have an agenda?
Not particularly.
I've never been impressed by the mountain. The big one. Whatever it was called.
I don't.
Something Maru.
Actually, I lied. One last
talking
thing.
about Jesse.
About talking about
this, you can see it.
About talking about the isle and stuff. Angler is actually going to look at Milan, and does Milan have that look on his face of I'm gonna do something really stupid because it's the right thing to do, but the wrong way to do it?
Milan has the deep thinking look of, okay, how do I process this information?
Probably a little bit of the look you were looking for under the surface, if I had to guess. But mostly processing.
Okay, that's definitely going to be. Yeah, Angler's going to probably step away for a bit and then, using wind-carried words, whisper to Milan, we need to have a talk later when we can just make sure it's just the two of us.
You get the when carried words of a thumbs up emoji.
I am both very impressed and also incredibly confused.
Sends you a
Enunciate
Pogger's face.
Those colons.
Do I need to upgrade my software?
You need to take the feat again, or the charm again, to upgrade its capabilities.
Mm-hmm.
Take it 4 times, you get access to the hidden DLC version. Oh, 32 points for that. Now I'm
At
finished.
SP5, you can put in your own custom emotes. Okay. Do we want to do that scene now, or does anyone else?
Oh fuck! Did you know this thing had different colored text?
Does anyone else have something they want to do, or do we want to do the Angler Milan scene?
Obsidian had one scene to do at some point, but I don't know if you want to do that first or second.
I'll go second.
Okay. Switch back to the man's map.
Definitely going to be a walk outside the manse for this conversation thing.
Okay,
Yes.
so yeah, abstracted then.
We're going to go over to that dog rock.
Mm-hmm. And then, without any preamble, when we get there, Anglish is going to look at Vanith in the eyes, and say, "You're going to go back to the island, aren't you?"
At some point, yes.
You got that look in your eyes. I don't know what you're planning, but whatever you're planning, I have your back on this, but you got to trust me.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think the both of us want to head back, and we both have ideas on what we want to do, but there's a hell of a lot better chance of whatever we want to do working if we work together on this.
You know how to cipher a letter, right?
I can set one up for you, yes. I definitely, if I have a day or two to really put it together.
Okay, you're gonna call me crazy. I want to send a letter to the head of each house.
Okay, it's definitely going to take a little bit more than 2 days, but go on.
Call me presumptuous, call me naive, but if they just talk, if they just sit down and be the family they once were, the family they still are.
You are both presumptuous and crazy.
Distant sounds of storyteller trying not to fucking die laughing.
Go on.
It wouldn't be now, no. It would... Probably the best time would be... recalibration, if it makes it till then.
Nothing bad has ever happened with the diplomatic event of calibration.
Let's just have everyone get together for a big conference, calibration. To be
Calibration
very
party.
peaceful
All in
and
the
normal.
same room.
Calibration party. I want to get my extended family over for Christmas.
That is where the usurpation started.
This is how it happened, man.
Angler is just
Look, maybe
giving
we
you
can
a very
avoid the
intense
Civil
look.
War by just reenacting the revolution.
And it's just gonna wait for just wait for you to finish. So go ahead.
Nightmare.
What would you like to send to all the houses? What is the idea that you really want to convey to get them all together?
I want to convey what great grandmother meant, not who she was.
See, her grandmother looked down from space.
Saw a world with one border, hers.
No, that's the who she was. What she meant was the stability.
Milan,
Are you sure?
you might
Yes.
be the most gentle-minded person I have ever met, and I am honored that you would tell me this. However, I think the time for that letter has long passed. If you still want to send it, I'll do it. I'll help you make the best one you possibly can. But I'm worried that this letter would only make things worse, rather than make them better, or give them a chance of being better.
Milan's gonna take a deep breath and then just say, I'll keep that in mind.
If you still want to do this, sure. But we need to be very careful with this. Very careful.
Milan's gonna give that very serious look you've probably seen him give before. Yes.
If we write the letter, are you going to be putting your name on it? Or is this going to be an anonymous letter?
I would put my name on it.
You would?
Yes.
Okay.
Sweet.
There's a very good chance if you do this, people are going to come after your household for it. And not in any kind of beneficial way.
I understand.
If you write this letter, you need to notify your house ahead of time to be prepared and to be cautious. You especially will probably have to tell your grandmother something might happen to be on edge.
Perhaps this idea needs more thinking.
I think it needs more thinking, certainly. But the merit of the idea, I could not have even thought of this myself because I would have tossed it aside instantly, but that you were really thinking about it. That's impressive. If we're going to distribute those letters, though, we might have to be in the aisle in person. I want to go home, but I don't know if it's a good idea.
And Milan's just gonna say this not out loud to you, but just kind of like voicing a thought. What is home?
It's a good question.
Not out loud?
No, that is out loud, but sort of like under the breath, just not directed at you.
Home is where your family is. Look behind you. And points at the manse.
I would like to meet yours.
I would like that very much myself, but I think the best way to meet them is for them to come here. And that's why I want to try to find a way back. Just to grab them and to get back here. Because I look at what that chaos, that fool up north caused just by himself, and how the Immaculate Order is probably ripping that town up and down. And I can't help but think that I know some people who can do it better. And I want her to do it.
I'm in.
Okay. We're going to have to think on this, and more than anything else, we're going to have to get Obsidian on this, because there's no way I'm using this network without his implicit approval. No, nothing else tonight. if you think of anything else you want to talk about with the letters, come to me. I'm going to start working on a cipher right now.
Mhm.
And to Darren, that is any time like downtime from here on out at nighttime for a couple hours. He is going to be making a cipher that he could break.
Right. Okay. Understood.
And Milan's going to be spending downtime to rethink of what am I actually writing to everyone.
Or is this a good idea? Yeah.
What is the correct intimacy to try and instill in my greater family?
In the background of this scene, specifically when you were prompted to like look out and think of the people in your immediate surroundings here as also family, Scholar Dome has reconvened.
Yeah, we're definitely shouting about something. There's a folding chair there somehow. I'm not entirely sure what it's there for, or
I suppose we'll be fighting tooth and nail to get through Yang's Yangness and establish somehow get him, pinned down and able to admit that actually a soul is a very specific collection of things. And as a priest proposed, knows what all of them are.
I guess my response would be like, oh, so you know all the sun's mysteries then, huh?
Most of them? More of them than you.
So you agree most of them, so there's some you don't know.
He's got you there.
So, okay.
The undefeated doesn't govern souls. They were invented before he was born.
Is Obsidian also at the Scholar Dome?
No.
Okay.
Obsidian's in his room waiting until night falls and everybody goes to bed.
Milan's gonna, once we come inside, just look at Scholardom going on, give a knowing, warm grin, and then go to bed.
Angler walks beneath the surface of the waters, and he is going to be doing training while he's there.
So, Yang, there is a conclusion you might come to in character, but I want to roll and see if you would think of it. Roll me Intelligence Occult, the difficulty is going to be pretty high.
Can I be doing something during Scholardome to get some stunts on this?
A stunt die? Well, how would you be arguing? What would you be doing? Like, give me something to make a stunt.
I'm laying out all the pages of my findings and showing the gaps between them and using that as an allegory to be just, because you have not observed something does not mean it is not there.
All right, one die stunt.
All right. I will give you a willpower.
7. Congratulations, you just hit it. So, if souls were made even before the Unconquered, like way back, like by like the things that made the Unconquered, like the things that Repose doesn't really like to talk about for too long of a length, except for Gaia, who Gaia is cool. Theoretically speaking, if all of this is just the energy of ley lines, and all of this is the essence of Gaia and creation, and it is wrapped up in a form that is able of cognizance and thought, isn't this just a soul of Gaia?
Wait a minute, we live on a soul, motherfucker! I just point to the
taking the dice pool. The 14 base dice for leaning into this with the excellency, for taking the deep breath, for extending the vibrations of the body out into the surrounding world. As Yang's hot take of, well, what if this is some kind of world soul thing? I bet you don't have a word for that. do you just slide forward without needing to move at all across the floor?
Grinding pavement noise.
You mean
This is Akuma raging demon sort of movement.
Yep.
are you perhaps trying to describe a dragon?
So what exactly is that role?
Just also occulting back at him, you know. Just keeping up the argument of, what did you think I meant when I said I checked if this was a deva? That's a thing.
Okay, so like,
You know what elementals are, and this is not an elemental. I
What
wondered
element
that.
is the ground then? What elements are rocks? Rocks is the entire thing rocks? What about the water on the rocks? Is the water rocks now? Is Earth the Rin boss? Because like trees are on the rocks, right? Because you go down the forest, there's like fucking rocks there. Where does it stop, Repose?
It doesn't.
It's rocks all the way down.
that's the point of essence.
And at some point, as this is perhaps reaching a peak, Repose is going to, you know, get a bit tensed up and then reach out and, like, grab and pinch the air next to Yang while, like, flaring up the charms that he uses to grip spirits and just grab Yang by his dormant anima. Just get him to feel that he extends beyond the borders of his flesh.
What is this? You gonna pull a coin behind me?
Just hold him by the scruff a little bit.
What?
Hold him by the soul.
It's
Ow.
the supernatural scruff.
Stop holding my aura. What the fuck? You can do that?
And then just let go of it and show his hand, and like Yang's glittery pollen dust that he produces when he is flared up is just kind of faintly there. Concentrate, channel a bit of his own energy into it, have it all kind of briefly flare up into little blossoms and then vanish on the breeze. Then quietly turn and walk away as though that were a response to anything he had said.
Yeah, you realize that you just won the argument.
He's very
As Pat just pointed out, you just had the insight that AI basically works on the same logic as primordial and demon souls, and Repose just doesn't want to talk about that or think about that.
It's not a part of anything, though.
Exactly. That's why it's weird and it's unfucked up. It's uncomfortable. Is that it's not part of a greater being. It's just there.
Yang does not
It's
realize
not a
he
soul,
won an
it's
argument. He
just
doesn't
rocks.
actually even realize there was an argument. He's just like, well, Repose is usually right, so how am I wrong? But then he's just confused, like, well, I guess no one knows then, huh?
Immediately discounting yourself. Well, I clearly can't be right.
I'll figure it out later. I'm tired. I'm gonna go smoke weed.
Meanwhile, Obsidian, you had a scene idea.
All right, so at some point, Obsidian would be keeping an eye on everyone because he has the psychic mind link with the boat, but he doesn't want to just, you know,
Think at it.
think at it. So at some point in the middle of the night, he slips out. He wants everybody to go to bed, and he goes through the portal, gets on the boat, goes up to the crow's nest, somewhere where he is alone. Nobody can hear him.
Yep, most of the crew is asleep. The night watch is present, making sure it's able to keep sailing. And you are alone in the crow's nest.
And I would just say to Onyx, Onyx,
Yes,
let me ask you a question.
of course.
And if you want me to stop this becomes too much for you, go right ahead. But
I understand.
when we first looked into your memories, we saw a bad scene. We saw people dying that I can only assume were close to you. And I think at the time that upset you quite a bit.
It was painful.
And I'm going to guess that all happened without you being able to do anything to stop it.
None of what I was capable of doing was able to interrupt what happened now.
That right there is one of the worst feelings. To have people ripped from you when there's nothing you can do about it. As far as I'm concerned, the fact that you feel something because of that, that means you and I are pretty equal in that regard. No matter what old man or Repose says otherwise, you're a part of this team.
Have you lost someone, Obsidian?
Not somebody close to me like you, but let's just say there's a reason I don't want to go to the Isles. And yeah, this is establishing a level 3 intimacy of Obsidian of we'll never go back to the Isles.
I understand. Obsidian?
Yes.
Thank you. I do not know what I am myself. Hearing the arguments as to what I was or was not was somewhat disconcerting, even if it was detached from what I know I am and I am not. But to be reassured is comforting after a very long time.
Long and short of it is a lot of people will put a lot of weight on labels when just we're all ourselves. And then there's nothing that really changes that. At the end of the day, though he put it, and it always comes back to this, he did in the end put it one of the best ways. We all die at some point, and that's not necessarily the end, but death comes for everyone one way or another.
I do not believe I am capable of death as is experienced by humanity, but I believe I experienced something adjacent in the time between the events and being relocated. There was very little of me left. I am not sure how far I was from simply ceasing.
Well, if that's true, I'm happy I found you when I did.
I am grateful.
And I really didn't have anything else to talk about with boat conversation. The scene would probably go on with lesser conversation, and Obsidian
Yeah.
would probably spend the night in the crow's nest.
Mm-hmm.
if you would be sleeping in the crow's nest, you would actually specifically have very comforting dreams of visions of faraway places across the oceans, of islands far to the west, of mountains rising high to the north as you sail in through ice channels, of glittering sands extending behind you to the south, of all of the places that this boat has been and seen, and all of the wonders and all of the natural beauties just slowly cycle through your head as a way of lulling you to a comforting sleep. And with that, in the next morning, Obsidian would wake up in the crow's nest, and the rest would probably be waking up at around the same time in the manse.
Obsidian would at one point, would probably he hasn't been with the crew for a very long time.
For a
He'd
while.
probably hang out with the crew for a bit, tell stories, tell them about the war.
They would be equal parts horrified and hyped up at the war, especially when you start describing you beating the living crap out of the blood. A combination of this is cool, but I'm also not that upset that I missed it in person.
We would feel that Obsidian is so far away from us, correct?
Yes, you would be able to feel your connection via the hearth that he's, like, up and around the river as the boat is coming closer. So, like, through the portal.
He did tell Repose that he does his best thinking on the boat, so Repose would probably know immediately that, he just used the portal to go to the boat.
Mm-hmm.
I'm curious how many of us were actually still awake when he's tried to slip out, because I don't think Repose sleeps.
Repose sleeps intermittently.
Repose
I've
sleeps
decided
like
that
1
the,
hour a day. 1 hour a
Yeah,
day.
I've decided that the resting cycle is alternating between days of regular sleep and days of skipping sleep with an hour of meditation. So that he can do, like, the full week plus of ignoring sleep on demand as needed.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Repose was probably, as chat puts it, was probably also mad enough that he didn't notice.
Repose was busy in Scholar Dome.
If you need me, I'll be in the Angry Dome.
Repose has spent the night very angrily beginning organizing what are appropriate rights by which to refer to the house and boat.
Mm-hmm. Your
A very furious, polite battery of questions to sort out.
Your texts, like, from the Vigil, don't really have a lot that talk about synthetic entities like this, because that was not really anything that, Deadly Whispered Praise had any interest or exposure to, considering, the apocalypse, like the one after the other apocalypse. This is kind of a novel thing. You might be the first member of the Vigil to ever actually encounter one of these in person, ever. You're kind of on your own in terms of setting pretext.
And so he is.
Mm-hmm.
What if the goblin's right? That would be horrible.
I refuse.
Oh, as an aside, just very quick mechanically, do I need to spend anything for...
No, you can always
Okay.
define you can always add your own intimacy whenever you want. Voluntarily weakening it requires a justification if it's major or defining, and you can just do it for free if it's minor.
When threatened with being wrong, the goblin recedes into completely different subjects of conversation. And then takes his newfound surroundings as evidence of victory against the original subject. Like, everyone else is adding on to the attaching value to saying, this does not have a soul. When Repose is like, yes.
And
The entity in and under the world who Repose respects and loved most has like maybe 2/3 of half of a human soul operating who she is, and she's great from that.
mm-hmm.
Things can be torn apart and rearranged.
So,
For many
would,
natures of thing that all have to be judged accordingly by what they are and how they do.
would there be a player agenda, or is this in me throwing curveballs again territory?
And step away for a bit. What's happening?
Well-
Discussion.
Deciding on our next move.
I don't know if it needs to actually be shown or not, but Angler does want to go check on the boys north of us that are the Immaculate Order with the town.
That would actually be something worth a full discussion when you go do that. So, does anybody else have any other?
The only other thing it would be mattering on the passage of time, but at a point or another, Obsidian is going to check in with the former. I forget what the good name for it is now, but the former golden or bronze axe.
The Trident River Valley.
Okay, Rome, you post this, but the thing that Repose is saying is that no, neither of those things are correct. Both of those are very well-defined words that don't apply here. Other similar things are occurring that are not those things.
Yep. So,
The fact that Yang is a strange beast who doesn't understand the values of the sounds that come out of his mouth is entirely immaterial.
Soul is a very well codified thing in the setting, and this is adjacent to several concepts of it.
Souls have weight.
Souls are quite.
So put them in boxes. You can keep them in drawers.
Yeah. So, as Repose was kind of going into before Scholar Dome erupted, there is a very easily observable human soul that is split into two parts: the higher soul and the lower soul. The higher soul is the part that you would consider a personality, and the lower soul is like, I need to eat, I need to sleep, I need to, etc. That's the thing that becomes a hungry ghost, and the other one is what becomes ghosts as Repose interacts with them at the temple. The house has neither of those because it isn't a person. Well, it is not a human. It is a person.
And yet,
It just doesn't have that metaphysical thing.
basically, like a really long about way is Yang is theorizing that there's some form of this rule set that we are not aware of yet. Like, you can't see infrared light, but it's there.
Mm-hmm.
The Scholar Dome has been about two very smart people shouting past each other about related but different topics.
Basically, you both agree with it is the exact thing of two smart
We
people
agree, just completely
separately
wrongly.
agreeing with each other very loudly, refusing to actually acknowledge what the other one is talking about as they agree.
I love Scholar Dome.
Meanwhile, Fold
A
Man was
wholesome
actually
family
involved with this
activity.
beyond the first one. He'd be vehemently disagreeing with both of them in a entirely different way.
Yeah, old man is his own philosophical standpoint.
That's just because he's old.
And also has a very different religious and philosophical viewpoint.
But mostly because he's old.
Yes. A very good analogy by Nixel in chat is that the human soul in Exalted is closer to a kind of organ.
Yeah, it's
than
an
is.
intangible organ. It's two intangible organs.
Yeah, it's like that's why when he grabbed my aura, that's to prove that like you have a thing that is a soul, you asshole.
I am holding you
All right,
by
so
the
that-
soul.
So that furthermore is to add another point to it, that as Exalts, we have a third spiritual organ.
Yeah.
That is the
One
thing that makes
practice.
us no longer human. We have the extra bit. The dragon bit. The skeleton part.
Yeah. Onyx is a person with sapience. Onyx doesn't have a soul. Onyx has something analogous, but not actually a soul. It is a different form of life form entirely. It's like you're discussing carbon-based life form and silicate-based life
What's
form.
ultimately happened here is Yang sees a mystery that he's starting to create frameworks for, and Repose sees something to try and fit into his framework.
And Obsidian doesn't care.
Yeah, no, and then Obsidian just walks off and is like, dude, I don't care, you're a person.
And to establish the difference there as well.
But it doesn't
Old man
have
is
humors,
already
though, and that's
strongly
neat.
convinced-
That's weird.
Old man is strongly convinced that everything he knows is true, and therefore can just immediately make decisions.
Yep. Old man immediately looks at the bricks and is like, if you didn't have your brain, you wouldn't have anxiety. Fucked up. So, unless anybody else had any other things to discuss, I think checking up on the Immaculates in the Jade Orchid would be a pretty good next move. From Angler's impetus.
Yeah, go back outside and get a status check on the region.
Alright, let's go back to the 100 Kingdoms.
Which I think as well for Repose's part of it is going back to report to the temple about,
Yeah, it's been a while since you've had a check-in.
It's not been that long time-wise. It has been a while
A while
event-wise.
plot-wise, yeah. Yeah, no, and in character, I actually double-checked the calendar. It's been about a week and a half. Yeah, the tactical choice of drawing exactly where the camera goes every time for the frogs is very good, Doc.
Huh?
Correct. This is more the question that Repose is working on.
Yes, this is actually exactly correct, Ron Rusher.
And like, if
There you go,
Repose
there you
went
go.
more into the history of it, the whole point of robots was to make something non-living and non-soul having. Because if you wanted to create a life form with a soul in your image, you would just have a kid. And that's not wizardry. That's life. That's boring.
That's boring!
Sorry,
I mean,
what
yeah,
was
you
this
can
about
even
the
get a
frogs?
demon for
I-
that, but that's still...
Rum Rusher art.
No, you
Oh, the
mentioned
frog's on the
these.
world map.
Oh, the frogs being on the map exactly where
Bloomers?
loading the map will show them every time.
Unsheath your
Oh,
blade,
yes.
coward.
Unsheath your blade, coward.
I sell trucks.
Let me tell you about laudanum.
It do be like that.
But yeah, so we can go over the quick report later or in more in depth if there's anything to really talk about in depth. But for now, Jade Orchid Prefecture. Would you be going through to the main city, to Burr? How would you be approaching?
From the way we're coming, it would probably be easier to go to Burr first.
Okay, and just I'm assuming you're on Stormcloud because why wouldn't you be? You are able to zip by and see that old Jimbus is doing fine, still grazing, doing well.
Same as it ever was.
Seems kind of a little like, wait, huh? Very kind of slowly turning its mass to track the storm cloud as it zips by, before lazily going back to munch.
Does Jimbus have an inherent element? I know it floats, but
Water.
it also has a lot of water to it. Okay, cool. That's definitely something that Angler's going to want to circle back to on his own sometime.
Jimbus is air and water, primarily water.
Okay. I totally want to get up on the Hydra's back.
Jimbus is ice.
Jimbus is the ice element. Jimbus is rocks.
Now we're talking.
It's completely meat.
You see, some people have come up with different concepts of what is ice. What is that, right? Well, inherently, people assume that coldness is an air thing. Air has taken control over coldness, but when we get down to it, what exactly is cold but the absence of heat? Therefore, I'm proposing the idea that ice is actually fire.
Get off my storm cloud.
You know, I was also going to make a joke about ice is fire. Damn.
Doesn't make any
I say
fucking
that,
sense.
me speaking to the other storm cloud.
Old
Meanwhile,
man.
Angler's is over here going, but it's just frozen water.
Not all ice is water.
Repose probably just has 1,000-yard stare as he's just thinking about all of the elemental court arguments he's had to hear.
See, ice is rocks, that's old shit. That's Spite's old decisions. That's bullshit. No, it's not time for ice is fire.
Just look
Right.
to the northwest and sigh.
Ice is wood.
That one doesn't make any sense. Fuck off.
It grows. It's that's it. my entire thing. It grows.
Pretzels grow.
The storm cloud is slowly beginning to form small chunks of hail and ice bits as we're flying along.
Hey, feels good to me, man.
So, you would be landing out.
I'm flying. It is cold up here. Ice is air. Go ahead.
Perhaps ice is metal.
And as we go higher up into the sky, we become closer to the sun. Well, of course, the sun comprises of many different things. There's a whole bunch of fire up there. I'm just gonna throw that out there.
I know not to touch that one.
Zawa coming from the cloud behind you.
Am I anywhere of earshot of this?
Yeah,
Yes.
you're on the cloud.
Normally I would cheer that on, but that's the stupidest shit I've ever heard. Like
Like
you
I
could just
need
say
your cheering.
you could say everything's fire then because the water touch everything subsists from the water. So at some point, wait, that's how the religion got invented, isn't it?
The religion.
Would my dude.
Oh, and I look at Repose and go, oh, I get it now.
Internally, just no, he doesn't. But that's okay. He doesn't have to.
And then he gives a completely accurate and correct example.
I love this stupid game. I love every time you completely derail me for a solid 5 minutes while you go on. I adore it every time. I want you all to know that. But yeah, the storm clouds are able to make the trip in, a little less than a day, make it back to late afternoon, land outside of Dragon Slaying Burr's village to avoid being sighted by and pursued by the Immaculates, or in case that is a threat or anything. Just avoiding any getting close to the cops without being necessarily having to situations. So you land outside the village, approach Dragon Slaying Burr's village. First thing you notice that it's not on fire, which is good. No signs of having been on fire, also good. In fact, it seems a little quiet. It has a little less of the bustle around it than you had been approaching it before. If you want to scope the place out as you're walking in, you can do Wits Awareness if you like.
Yeah, let's do Wits Awareness.
I'm also going to use the Observer Awareness method to see how many people are observing us,
Okay.
which I only need a success on to activate.
Yeah. That is okay. So Milan notices that it's mostly the men and women of general combat age who are not here. And Angler gets a couple of pairs of eyes, not super focused in on you, but looking in oh, okay. The vibe Milan gets in particular is that it is likely that a lot of the people here are taking advantage of people being distracted.
Uh-huh.
So it's a little quiet around here because they're all busy.
I need to get into my superhero costume ASAP.
Let's see if Burr's home.
You were able to go to the mausoleum and find out that she is not. A very brief inquiry would be a confirmation that, yeah, she's out in the Jade Orchid itself, fucking around, just destabilizing the remnant dynast powers. The report that you get from the locals when you talk to them, the ones who are not directly involving themselves in the sabotage and are either providing home support or just not able or, not interested, like, it is not their role to be out on the front lines kind of situations for a lot of these people. They are discussing that the Immaculates have, let's see, double checking the timeline. Okay. The Immaculates have executed the head priest that he was here. They have found him guilty of insubordination of duty and just enough tying him to sketchy spiritual practices that they summarily executed him. The Dynast Sinus Lysaea is currently under trial for heresy and dealing with powers of darkness. And that is still ongoing, but the general assumption is going to be that he is also going to get the chop. What is unclear and what everybody is uncomfortable with is what's going to happen next. Because, the Immaculates, when they come in and decapitate the leadership, usually have one answer, and it's, hey, we are a theocracy now, have fun. And not everybody here is cool with it being an overt realm-oriented theocracy when they were barely putting up with the Potemkin realm in the first place. So that's where a lot of these people in the village are, is just going out and making sure that their lives are kind of a little annoying. Not enough to bring heat down on Burr's village, but enough to make it so that if the Immaculates want to get a vice grip on this region, they're gonna have to really try for it.
Ankler's going to take a moment to go collect information and such inside the village itself, just walking around, talking to people. I know he strikes a figure in this group, or in the village, because he would look nothing like them. But just generally, not overtly trying to gather information, but what happens when you walk about and you look different? People are going to come talk to you. That kind of thing.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I have no idea what role that is.
That would be, let me double check your sheet. Probably. Let's go with manipulation, socialize.
Okay. Four.
So you got a 4, you said?
Yes. And if it
So-
helps to specifically set it up, he definitely is looking to see, were they unhappy with all the practices of things that were mimicking the realm, or is it just that the dude in general was just an ass and that's the main problem?
The dude in general was an ass and very much discolored people's views of the realm's institutions because he did them all badly and they were not great to begin with. But also, a lot of these people are just kind of chafing at, okay, so your solution to this tax siphoning power mad tyrant who was styling himself after the realm was to have the religion of the realm come in, kick over the door, and completely remove our ability to self-determine? Okay. That doesn't seem fine, but you have the bigger gun.
Okay.
So
Ankler needs
that-
to find Burr.
Yeah, that is basically why this village out here is that is the sentiment of the villages inside the prefecture. That is why the village outside it is fomenting that sentiment.
Okay.
But the village would just be point blank like, we don't know where Burr is. In terms of like, why would we know? We wouldn't want to be a security risk.
Oh yeah, he would not actually be asking them where Burr is.
Yeah.
It's just more a matter of just trying to get a general idea of the populace. Okay. Which means we need to find her.
Yep.
Okay. Angler's gonna walk back to the group, kind of look at each of them, and look over at Yang and Old Man. We need to find Burr. She's out causing mischief in this area, and I don't want her to get in over her head.
An interesting combo of people to look at.
Well, they're
Who
out
better?
in the woods, and you two know how to survive out there.
Also, who better to predict what the gremlin is going to do?
Or the insurrectionist is going to do. Kind of, same hat, tomato, tomato.
I feel like both of those words can apply to all three parties.
Yes! Yes, there's a reason the three of you are in this group discussing this. Is what I was saying.
Right. I actually went to go grab a drink because I finally have things to drink again that don't involve caffeinating the shit out of me. So, what are we tracking?
Angler wants to find Burr, the young lady who was, I don't know if she's a young lady, but the lady who was in charge of the resistance outside.
Dragon Slaying Burr is somewhere inside the Jade Orchid Prefecture, stirring dissent against the Immaculate Order because there is already pre-existing antipathy towards them,
And they are taking a very heavy hand in coming in and have already decapitated one of the halves of government with the intent of replacing it and are looking to do the same with the other. They've already killed the priest and they're looking like they're going to be killing Lysaea soon.
One, to do something like that, you need to be at a point where news can spread very quickly, and therefore they're definitely in the most densely part of the prefecture. Going about it very, very slowly and trying to work from a low-lying part of the prefecture will actually probably end up with any dissent that's spreading being drowned out by the simple day-to-days of life, and therefore or be easily crushed because it's out on the prefecture, on the outlying areas. Two, probably under their nose. I would assume you know how to knew how to go about with that.
It isn't a matter of, I know they're under their nose, but the two of you are better in the bush than I am.
Well, probably somewhere close by.
Yang? Yang might have stepped out.
Yep.
So in the meantime, Old Man can do the probably wit survival roll to stake out probably where they would be, just from a general knowledge of the region.
Wit survival is something I'm very good at. Although, I'll go ahead and give you my free one to get 4 there.
Hmm.
Sorry, I was in the bathroom.
You're all good.
How dare you piss? Now of all times.
Well, they're all.
So they're probably at the road junction to the southwest, because that is the most access to both the village to the west and the most road space. They're probably in the hills and forested areas in that area, just for sheer combination of ease of access to infrastructure, transportation, and densely populated areas, as well as being able to just run off and hide. If you wanted to start looking, that would be where you would start.
All right.
Yeah.
So,
I was curious if Yang wanted to help Old Man with the search
Yeah.
method.
begrudgingly.
Yang can also roll with survival for additional insights.
Help is the wrong word on there. Make a separate yet also incredibly important
Also be in
check.
the same location as the old man? Sure, got you, buddy.
Yeah.
Okay,
Trust but
so-
verify.
The thing with that is, you're not entirely sure where they would be until Old Man speaks up, and then you immediately remember something. There is a series of dead drops that the SLC used to use, but abandoned once, there was too much heat in the local area.
Yeah,
They
do
almost
that.
certainly just co-opted the damn place because it's just a free hideout because the Excelsi ditched it and it's just a set of, bolt holes in the woods.
Yeah, some jet's gonna run across there eventually. It's just gonna happen. Law of averages.
Jeff?
And then, they tell it to the wrong dude and they get stabbed because they know where their new house is.
So that would be your first guess of where to look, would be the old Asilsi bolt hole. And you know exactly where to go for that.
Hey, walk and talk.
So yeah,
There is no search roll necessary with a roll that high. You are able to basically get a hunch of exactly where the hell they are and zero in on it and find,
if you're able to retrace your old steps, go to the old bolt hole, and yeah, you're able to see not campfire smoke, but there is enough
Can I make a fact about
Go.
the Excelsior Bolt Hole? So
Go.
they're designed so that the intended route to them is so fucking bullshit, and it's designed for Dragon Bloods to do it. There's a couple jumps that you just can't make. So they probably got in by breaking down something somewhere. So we may have an advantage on them if we feel like it. Just saying.
Yeah, actually, that's a really good fact because
Yeah.
originally it was just there was no actual reasonably accessible path to this thing. It was just this is in the ass end of the briars in the middle of the
Yeah,
woods.
this is a hole for superhumans to hide in, so they can chill out for a bit.
So yeah, the way that you know that it is inhabited by anyone else is that there is literally any clear cutting
of a path at all whatsoever. Like there is any manipulation of the bushes to make it easier for somebody to walk through. Yeah, somebody else was here and it was not the Excelsi. So you're pretty sure that you got it right in terms of this is where they are staked out. Now, approaching without getting stabbed or shot might be a bit of a trick.
I mean, yeah, if they've clear cut the area, not much you can do.
Well, their leader knows who we are, and I'm sure several of the people have seen us, so...
Yeah, it's a matter of how do you want to approaching.
Well, who wants to do a war or some sort of? Wait, is it just me and old man?
No,
you,
I mean,
old
the whole
man-
crew is there.
Okay.
At least, let me rephrase that. I'm with you. I don't know if the rest followed.
It's probably just us three when we're out doing this.
Yeah, for the scouting part of it.
Scouting.
But you could
Yeah.
get everyone else involved if you want to.
Obsidian's probably hitting up locals for information.
I mean,
Now, I don't know
that's
about a war,
yep. That's actually the person I want. Is Angler's going to look at this and go, I think Obsidian might be the best person to talk to these people.
Actually, if Obsidian is available in town, he might. He would probably be of help for a thing that Repose would plan to do here.
All right.
Because a priest is dead, a son of the earth is dead, and even the worst of the family being dead is to some degree a loss. In a better world, we would have slapped some sense into him and made him, someone to be proud of, and not two halves of a corpse on the ground. So Repose, while we're in town, is actually going to commandeer an appropriate religious site and just lead some very backhanded mourning and grieving of his fallen distant brother in arms. Just every step of the way being about, man, if only I had met you like a couple years earlier and gotten my hands on you and
Her throat.
at no point approving of anything that he did, but being genuinely sad that it had to end this way.
Mm-hmm.
And for Dice on Repose's part for this, for any of the folks who would be presumably, taking note of and then later spreading word of mouth about this incident, throwing some manip presence de-escalation at them that, all right, that guy was bad, and he's dead now, so that's over.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Just, is anyone thinking about maintaining a grudge about that guy's misdeeds? Because he's probably not going to notice. He's fucking dead.
Yeah, alright, 1 dice don't on that.
And I will throw the excellency behind that for 2 extra successes.
Yeah, no, it's extremely
This
Ghost has
fucking
been
guy.
placated. Ghost has been placated and also probably thoroughly ashamed if there is one. Crowd has been mollified.
Particularly since the gossips would probably, definitely have connected the dots of our party having been involved in bringing about this guy's downfall in the first place.
Yep.
So especially hearing from the executioner of this fallen man that I didn't want to have to do that.
Mm-hmm.
That was just a really bad use of my day.
Yep.
A worse dampness.
Okay, so Wind Carried Words would be in range to get Obsidian in the middle of discussing people in town and gathering information to come out to the woods, and it would not be very long. At this point, it is approaching the evening as Obsidian meets up with Angler, Old Man, and Yang in the cabin in the woods. Other people, if they would be willing to go out to the cabin, would probably get the same message. Otherwise, can continue.
Yeah, I would send a message to all of them, but specifically to Obsidian, like, I absolutely need you out here for this one, because this is your thing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Obsidian would meet up with Angler and the crew.
All right, so I just thought about this. Obsidian is not the most subtle person.
No shit.
How good of an odds is it that they saw him approaching?
Was Obsidian trying at all to stay hidden?
He wasn't told to, so no.
Fairly high.
Okay. In that case, if they've already noticed several of us are here, it's probably just going to be, let's go quietly, go talk to them. Not quietly, but slowly, not making any aggressive measures,
Very
just
deliberate
head towards them.
movements.
Making sure that they know that we are not here to attack them, let them recognize who we are, like have a conversation on like a hilltop where they can see us, so they recognize us, and then head towards them.
Okay.
Maybe shots get their attention.
You know that scene in 13 Warriors where they have a kid sitting on top of a ship for a while so that they realize that he's not a ghost?
Yep.
Yeah.
That kind of an idea.
So, yeah, that would be Charisma Presence from Obsidian, probably, as the best person to roll that.
Oh. Charisma presence? Alright,
Yeah.
hold up.
Yeah, I know.
Gonna have to use my whole ass on this one.
That incredibly difficult roll for you.
Because
I
it's
really
funny.
didn't know. I really did not know if anyone would get the 13th Warrior reference I was bringing.
I'm unfamiliar, but I'll take your word for it.
It's a good movie.
It's been
Because it's funnier this way, I was spending both for 2 auto successes because when the number's bigger, it's funnier.
Mm-hmm.
Alright, so that's 9.
Yeah, no, you just fucking stroll out in the middle of the cleared out kill zone. Like to you, you immediately can tell kill zone. This is a firing box. This is not just the little shack on the side. There are also absolutely just murder little firing positions in the trees along the sides of this. But you just stroll confidently straight down the middle of it with your hair flowing in the air, just the sane and fucking love interest that you are. Just billowing in the wind, and you just kind of feel the vague presence of killing intent stop as people just kind of go, damn. And
Yo, where's that guy?
so a man comes to the front door and is obviously looking at you with somewhere between like the awe of, here comes a prince of the earth to speak with us, and also, goddamn, question mark, hot. As he composes himself and he's like,
Fire hot. Fire very hot. Oh no.
How can I help? Yes. Hello.
Out of character, I was in and out of it. I'm not sure what we're actually looking for information wise here.
You're looking for Dragon Slaying Burr, the exigent from the village to the south.
Okay.
You just gotta
Well-
check in and be like, hello. What you
Obsidian being
doing?
Obsidian, I would just be like, do you know where Burr is?
Yeah. Yeah. She's right inside. I can show you in. Yes. Just follow me. And just kind of opens the door, stands to one side, letting you in, despite having said follow him. Completely trying not to have the spaghetti fly out of his pockets and failing.
Angler's just following behind, going, sometimes I really hate that man, but he's so good at what he does.
Would enter the house. Signal to, or I guess wave to Angler and Beneath.
The less attractive looking crew will follow behind.
Yeah, whatever.
I look great.
Sure, dude.
I have the hideous quality.
All right.
Someone out there, someday.
I have the hideous quality. I look bad, no matter what.
Bold of you.
A certain sense of great. Yeah.
Propose is
Wait,
even
hold on.
less noticeable than usual while he is carrying on the motions of grieving.
Does Obsidian become even more attractive because he's next to Old Man?
Yes.
Okay.
I
I'm not happy that that's the way it works.
The important thing.
Honestly, you're just more. Obsidian is the level of attractive where you are more attractive when you are standing next to literally anyone else, but Old Man especially.
Obsidian makes
the other way
people
around.
not notice Old Man is there.
Yeah. Old Man somehow stops being weird because everybody can't stop looking at Obsidian.
You get a +1 stealth bonus when you're standing next to Obsidian.
Pretty much. I also think I'm almost certain that is an actual presence or social.
Hold up, let me look through the presence tab while this scene progresses. I'll see if that actually exists.
Obsidian also has like a negative stealth roll.
No, that is a performance charm. I remember that now. Is just the
Okay.
look at me one.
Yes, you let other people hide by holding the attention of the room.
Okay, so
Though I did just notice Aura of Invulnerability. Roll your current temporary willpower to gain temporarily 0 health levels and natural soak.
yeah,
This is in presence.
yeah.
You should get that.
I'm probably gonna work towards that.
Yeah, that's a pretty good one too. What if you could just explode into like 5-0 health levels because you're just that that unstoppable?
There is also gain a bonus dot of appearance, which can push you over 5.
Okay.
But yeah, no, you walk in and there's a small guard of people who are standing down, upon realizing that number one, guests who are being let in. Number two,
Hey.
because look, you turned on the supernatural levels of being, not a threat, so. But Burr looks up from the table across the way. She's got a couple of maps of the Jade Orchid Prefecture's capital city in front of her. She's picking her nails with a knife as she looks up with you, kind of does a double take. Very clearly recognizes you, but with your aura flickering a little bit, is just kind of like, whoa, okay. Hi.
I'm sorry, Angler. I think I did it a bit too hard.
You are literally smoldering.
Yeah, now you are literally smoldering looks right now. She's just kind of has the look of not interested, but still can aesthetically appreciate. before she puts down the knife and goes, "Well, clearly you were able to find me out here this far. You got something to talk to me then."
Hi. Just checking in to see what kind of mischief you're getting up to with the Immaculate Order still in town.
Well, I'm sure that if you're out this far, you've already heard about the execution. They've already disposed of the body via cremation. The soon-to-be execution of the trial is still ongoing. Apparently, they have more evidence than they really know what to do with against Lucia. He was not exactly great at hiding his entire trail of corruption. They haven't found anything religiously too offensive about him yet, but I feel like that's only a matter of time. They're really just going through the civic versions yet, so far. Technically speaking, that they said that they may commute the sentence because he's a member of a noble house of the Dynasts, but considering he's a disgraced one on the run, I think he's going to be seeing a pyre sooner rather than later.
Who do you think will be running the prefecture after he is gone?
One of the Immaculates. Don't know which. I haven't been able to get that yet. It feels like this is a bit of a favor trading, like a favor trading moment, currying influence with the head inquisitor of the temple. I believe Flowing Water, I think is his name, is high up in the list of temporary regents, as it were. If you don't remember out of character, Flowing River was the guy who showed up and was like, "Oh, thank God, somebody here to stop an insurrection from the Immaculate Order in Fallen River Valley." So hearing that he is high on the list of people to install is a little odd and sticks a little weird with you.
But he's a good idea. Why would they go with a good idea?
And why would he want that is also the thing. Because he was also one of the people who was like trying to seem to not be interested in the order militarily kicking people over. Yeah, no, he was not the abbot.
Yeah,
He was
this
the abbot.
seems-
He was the abbot's right hand, who was like the one who gave the hearth
The
underhand.
high-ranking human.
Yes.
Oh, I get it.
Hmm.
If they take him here, then he can't be where he was, being moderate.
Bingo. I'm not even making you roll temple politics for that. He is being thrown out of the way so he can stop acting up on the abbot.
How long do you think it'll be before they cement the positioning and such?
Month tops. Can't imagine it would go much longer than that.
Okay.
The execution's probably going to be much sooner than that, but exactly finalizing who's going to be going where is probably going to be a lot of politicking.
Oh boy, she's gonna hate me for this one. What if I have a different suggestion for someone who could take over?
She stops and stares at you, and you get the feeling that you are in a choose your next words with exceptional care kind of moment.
This entire place has been... I'm going to put all my cards on the table and be completely honest with you. This entire place has been thrown through the ringer several times by outside influences. People are playing with this entire region like they're a bunch of toys. Like they don't belong, like it's just something that they can use and dispose of without any kind of problem. This place needs someone that can protect it, nurture it. I have a couple ideas, but you need to trust me on that.
I'm guessing that you're hedging so much because whoever you're suggesting is not from here either.
No, she isn't. And I'm not saying she would fix it, but I'm saying she'd do a damn sight better job than he would, and she would keep the person who needs to be where he is.
How are you so sure that she would be able to get out here and override the will of the Immaculate Order?
Because she's the, I would say, favored daughter of a house one of the 10 great houses.
Her eyes widen. Huh. So you want to import dynastic politics into this mess, is what you're saying.
I don't want to import any kind of dynastic politics. I want to put someone who'd do the best damn job here and take them out of the dynastic politics, but make it seem like we are.
Oh, I see what you're doing. You're getting your ducks in a row.
I'm getting your ducks in a row because, boy howdy, it's not that you could do a damn good job, but you could do a damn good job being behind the scenes.
Oh, I never had any intention of running this damn place. I never really had any...
Exactly, but you would help. And you're a very good person for that.
She raises an eyebrow. Tell me more about whoever it is that you think would be so better at this.
I don't think she would be so better at it than you, per se, but I think she'd be better than anyone they put in the position to be. She's my wife, and she's a very good person.
She actually just gives a snort when you say that it's your wife. Yeah, of course you'd be such a... Okay.
And he is going to make sure that if she does any kind of read intentions on him, he absolutely lets it happen.
Yeah, no, I'm not going to roll it then. If it's just a free... It is read intentions. Leans back in her chair. Is visibly, at least to you, if not everybody else, satisfied that, okay, this is not just nepotism. This is not just you trying to do a power play. You genuinely believe that she would be good enough to keep this place, in line. All right.
I am intentionally not looking at chat. I already know what y'all are doing. Stop it.
My wife. I'll do it for them. They deserve it.
But yes, Angler has wanted to bring his family out here for months of real time, and this is a very good opportunity for it that Angler has seen. Burr just kind of closes her eyes and sighs. All right, I'm not gonna stop you, but I am going to warn you that the abbot is probably not going to be happy if somebody from the Isle comes and starts playing around in his sandbox.
Who says it's his sandbox?
Him.
I'd like to see him try.
Be careful what you wish for, I'll just say that much.
He can watch, and he can fuss, and he can storm about and do whatever he wants. He won't have anything to complain about.
Well, if only I had your sense of optimism about that. She picks up the knife again and starts picking her nails.
Sorry.
Oh, you're good.
I thought I have a scene I want to do, though.
Okay.
I have an addendum to, something just off on the periphery of this scene going on, though.
Sure, go ahead.
All right, so Repose, in, keeping more aware of the moving and shaking of religious institutions in the area. Just while he's on the periphery of all of this discussion happening, we'll have taken out one of his general purpose books, flipped it open, gotten to place where he's keeping organization chart of local immaculates, and as part of, concluding his grieving observations that have spanned a couple of days, remove the name of the recently deceased, and then spend a while very meaningfully and thoughtfully looking over the list again, and particularly thinking about members of the Order who were active in this area approximately 30 years ago for no particular reason. Folks who might have been acquainted with the last incident.
That's twice now, Lavo's theme.
I see.
The music knows what
It's
needs to be
just an
discussed.
autoplay.
That's how it is.
You can go ahead and roll your temple politics roll for that.
Repose just wants to, as a specific goal to put into these dice, Repose wants to think about other regional figures who would be peers of this abbot, and thus be the people you would approach if you wanted, allies and leverage against him. Who are the people who, within the bounds of the order, could step up to this guy and contest him?
Okay.
And I'll propose, just continuing to update the list of people who were probably his father. He has been maintaining that.
Are you my dad?
Are you my dad?
Is that my dad? Maybe.
Do you need to make a read intentions roll every time we run into someone who could be your dad?
I'm pretty sure it will be self-evident in the event that occurs.
We'll know.
Alright, there's a 3.
Probably the main abbot in Grey Falls would be the closest and biggest stick to swing at him, because he's the frontier priest in terms of realm logic. He is somebody important and a big man until the actual realm-controlled territory Immaculates walk in, at which point he's supposed to immediately give deference.
Mm-hmm.
Theoretically speaking, it's a long shot, but if Flowing River was promoted to a position of both secular and spiritual authority of an area the size of the prefecture, even though he's immortal, he would be able to contest the abbot in a political way on the same footing. But that would require the Flowing River to actually be installed over Jade Orchid, rather than, Angler's wife. But in terms of soft power, Flowing River is probably one of your best direct options, because he's shown sympathy to your motives, and clearly doesn't really like his boss too much, and is in it to make sure his boss doesn't do what he's trying to do right here as much as he can. So a combination of probably the carrot of Flowing River and the stick of Grey Falls finding an excuse to come, knock him over the head would be what you would put together.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we'll just leave a note for now.
All right. Let's see what else. Okay. I feel like there was something else that was about to be said or done right before Repose came in, or if I'm just losing my memory because it's getting late.
Sana had an idea.
Right, Sana.
Oh, right. Oh, I forgot to. Fuck, what was I gonna say?
You said you had a side idea for a thing.
Oh, right. I upgraded Forest Devil Mask. I wanted to explain what was that in the Mystique system?
Yes.
Okay, I want to canonize officially that the mask is turned into a belt.
Oh my god.
With 13 tile-shaped slots in it.
Yep, here we go. Okay.
Yeah.
So, I guess, I'm like, I should probably go do some vigilante shit outside. And I try and find a mask, and I'm like, oh fuck, I lost it. Fuck. And I start tearing up everything everywhere. And I find the bell. I'm like, thank God, cool. I just slap that on and just make sure it works still. It works.
It works better, actually.
Fuck, where's the mask? My belt, thank God.
You put on the belt, and as you snap on the belt, the entire costume comes onto place with a new version of your mask that is more ornate and now has basically the characters for Yakuman, as in the winning hand, but also written to be a pun readable in High Realm as Yaku Man, like the person. It's like it's a calligraphic pun across the face.
I have a brand icon on my face now.
Yes.
Cool. So, out of character, ultimately what I'm gonna do is get Yang powerful enough to where he is a legend that anyone who wants to reverse the tables can be assume the form of Yaku Man.
Call upon Yaku, the divinity.
And as long as the public agrees, yeah, that's a Yaku Man, they get to have some sort of power. I'm going to invent some sort of justice guild, I guess?
You're inventing a common writer is what you're goddamn doing.
So you're starting a cult.
I mean,
yes,
kind of.
You are literally just investing in the cult merit, which, by the
Yeah.
way, you have thought of that free. You can lock that in with the actual experience.
Yeah, I'll do that, I guess. So yeah, ultimately, I want people to be able to become, you know, Dark Yakumen, or I don't know. We'll figure it out.
You're basically angling to become a subordinate divinity that people can pull pseudo exigencies out
That
of.
specifically the proletariat can use to enforce like the ideals of the
Boy,
mass.
you're in for a really fun ride when heaven notices you. I'm just gonna say that right on the page.
It's designed so it's designed so I'm dead specifically. I have to be a martyr for this to work. They're gonna kill me. It's fine. That's the point. Shh.
The exigent of class warfare.
You know, magic democracy, pretty much.
This game is fucking dumb.
I love the stupid game. I love the stupid theme. But yeah, no, like, you say you have no idea where you're going with Yakuman, but the idea of, like, a common writer who becomes an emblematic common writer anyone can pull the belt out of, no, that's a pretty fucking good idea to me, my man.
I mean, you know, it's designed specifically so that the two extremes will be able to leverage it, and whichever one is most supported by the most people will probably win at the end because they'll be cheering for them.
Mm-hmm.
This will not backfire.
I mean,
It won't go badly at all.
It'll backfire when, like, you know, whoever is on the. I mean, you know, whatever. It's designed that whoever is right can win instead of like the good guys win.
Go on.
That's it.
Mm-hmm.
Because you know, sometimes ass will have a point.
It's designed so that whoever is right wins rather than the good guys, I see.
Old man just slowly
Old man
creeping up
leers
from
over
below the
Yang's
frame.
shoulders of, you are accidentally going into my domain.
I mean, yeah, I'm putting a lot of trust in the masses to. I mean, whatever. You know,
It's fine,
Yang.
don't think about it.
Yang performing the political and
Wait a minute.
spiritual equivalent of reinventing cardboard.
hold on.
But we will work together and fight for our beliefs under a code of
Am I
conduct.
solo Invictus?
You are just doing a cult, man.
That's just cults.
Damn it!
You're just doing the thing that Dragon Bloods frown on polite society.
You know,
But you're also way
probably
outside of polite society, so who cares?
you could probably write up one of those. Shoot, forgot the name again. The thing me and Loon made.
Creation ruling mandate for your Yakuman hordes. I don't think you're not that far yet with your cult, but you can be. Eventually. But yeah, no, you have officially put enough mojo into Yakuman by purchasing that charm that you are now imprinting yourself in the divine world as everything and everyone is a valid target for prayer, but a more visible and easily clung to target of prayer.
What the ideal, if I do this right, will be a trickster wild card that people can use to turn the tables when there is no hope, but when it really matters.
Mm-hmm. That's a pretty valid ideological, theological niche.
You know, a ripcord of some sort, just in case. You never know.
A release valve.
Look at Yang, you know, stumbling over, explaining what he's trying to do here. Look over shoulder at, like, the day moon hanging in the sky. Coyly.
Look over at 3rd edition concept of infernals.
Do I let this play out?
Do we just tell him, or do we let him figure it out the hard way?
We've already got one!
Somehow deep in your bones, you don't see it, you don't hear it, you don't feel it, but you know that if the moon deigned you with a response, it would be, dude, no, this is way funnier. You just know.
You look back at the moon.
But he really thinks it's gonna work.
Hey, look at him
The
go.
moon and just say, "Why are you like this?"
You really think they're gonna? Why do you trust them so much?
Just let it happen. Just let him figure it out. Who knows? Maybe this will go well.
You never know, I guess.
Smash cut to the moon hooting and hollering when this goes well.
I told you! I told you!
I knew it!
The moon smiles and unfolds a fresh heroic martyr cult bingo card. The free space this time will be different.
It needs some entertainment too. I mean, come on.
Oh my god. Oh man.
Song and dance, we might as well make it like performative and fun.
Yes. Yes. Also, you ever laugh so hard that your idea of the next half hour or so of the plot just leaves your fucking head?
Yes.
Yes.
Because, yeah, it's about 11:30,
fine.
and
It's
I
late.
don't think we're going to be beating that joke tonight.
Nope.
So, I think this is a good point to wrap it. Next time, dealing with more of the immaculate politicking, dealing with the regional unsettling, and just Moon looking down with pride and also a bowl of popcorn.
Do we want to prevent an execution, or watch an execution, or steal an execution?
Contribute to the execution.
Moon looking in through the window. Haha, yes!
Yes!
Yes, yes.
Yes!
Does anyone want to stop it?
Who on earth wanted to stop the Sayas execution?
Fuck that guy.
I mean, we could just, send him home.
To be probably worse than executed by House Senates.
Yeah. Why have him die here when he can die over there?
But like,
Much better that way.
that requires effort, and I already gave that guy a chance.
And that means they need someone to take him home.
Oh no. Oh no, you've got Angler thinking.
What if two fine upstanding gentlemen of the realm apologize to the clergy for this horrible, boorish insult to the aristocratic class, and graciously offer to bring the prisoner back to the Isle to stand trial in more appropriate courts for his misdeeds, as clearly his many misconducts were largely not of a spiritual nature, but a temporal one, a secular one.
Step in, claim authority, just pull him over your head like you are fucking carrying a keg in Majora's Mask, and run off.
And you are members of rival houses, so it's not like they're gonna think you're saving this guy, but just, hey, Dibs,
No,
Dibs.
You are the
Dibs,
two
we know
houses
that.
that... You are the two houses that despise Sinis the most on, like, above board.
Hey,
This would be
we
a
just
great
noticed
way
that you're
to-
about to execute one of our arch rivals without inviting us.
No, Dibs.
Yeah, dibs. Also, this would be a great way to break their control with, I don't know, that major town of the south here.
Yep. And then set up another vacuum once you say that the realm maybe just says another realm person comes in and
Do I want to break up the control of the town of the south? Yeah, eventually, but
Who
nah.
approves?
Mostly it's just want to take care of some things.
this art is perfect. Next time.
Yes,
time.
Moon loves this.
Next time.
Next crime.